Officials also told reporters the Russian targeting they believe is part of a broader cyber espionage campaign to steal information such as credentials and passwords.
Fox's Catherine Herridge. Stocks starting the week with gains. The Dow up 214. The S&P and NASDAQ also higher. Fox News, fair and balanced.
Yes, money is something we should talk about and plan for and use to make life better. It's how we make our giant leap from where we are to where we want to be. So let's talk together and work together to check off shiny new kitchens, fully nested dorm rooms, and bucket lists with more countries than our passports can hold. Let's check them all off together. First Hawaiian Bank. It all starts with yes. Member FDIC.
Chili's lunch combos for just $10. Start your lunch with your choice of a Bud Light, iced tea, or Coca-Cola. Plus, free bottomless chips with salsa. Then choose a variety of fresh entree options like our savory beef enchiladas, quesadilla explosion salad, or our Cajun chicken pasta. Experience fresh flavors in every bite with Chili's lunch combos for just $10. Available Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. At Chili's, fresh is happening now.
An internal government watchdog says the Environmental Protection Agency violated federal spending laws by purchasing a $43,000 soundproof booth for Administrator Scott Pruitt to make private phone calls. The Government Accountability Office today saying purchases by cabinet agencies of over $5,000 for redecorating, furnishing, or other office improvements must first be approved by Congress. Things were looking up for retailers across the country last month.
Retail sales rebounded modestly in March. Americans were shopping, but they were not splurging. The government says retail sales increased 0.6% last month. The increase is stronger than expected. Retailers were selling more cars, furniture, and appliances. Auto sales increased 0.2%. That's the most in 6 months. But Americans were spending less at home and garden stores, clothing shops, and sporting goods stores. Ginny Cosola, Fox News.
An historic day for the Boston Marathon.
For the first time since 1985, an American woman crosses the finish line first in Boston.
The rain continues to come down, and now the drought is over.
Audio courtesy of NBC Sports Network. Desi Linden clocking in at just under 2 hours and 40 minutes through torrential rain and cold winds to become this year's women's champ at the Boston Marathon, the first from the U.S. since Lisa Rainsberger 33 years ago. On the men's side, Japan's Yuki Kawashi was the shock winner, becoming the first male Japanese runner to win the men's race at the Boston Marathon since 1987. He finished the 26.2 miles in just under 2 hours and 16 minutes. Matt Napolitano, Fox News.
Rapper Kendrick Lamar winning a Pulitzer Prize for music. Lamar's win for his album entitled Damn marks the first time the award has been given for a non-classical or jazz work. The Pulitzer Board today calling the album a work capturing the complexity of African-American life. I'm Rich Dennison, Fox News Radio.
Security Title is honored to join in sponsoring Ray Gibson on The Point. Hafa, my name is Jesse Cruz from the village of Maina, and this is where I start my day, listening to the voices of our community and sharing thoughts about issues that affect all of us. It all boils down to our people and our land. Protehi Itanomo, protect your land. When it comes to your family land, remember to call the professionals at Security Title, just like you call Ray Gibson in the morning.
When you think about better water, think Kinetico softened water. Kinetico water conditioners work like no other, supplying a continuous flow of luxuriously soft water without disruption and without use of electricity. After all, better water flows from better thinking. Kinetico.
American Water Tech. Smarter water, better water. Call American Water Tech at 649-2301 or email info@americanwatertech.com.
Every time I travel, there's something from home that I can't leave without. I take my Docomo Pacific Data to Go to share my stories in Taiwan, check subway routes in Tokyo, be my food guide in Hong Kong, meet new friends in the Philippines, make updates in the States, find my way around Korea, and check out all the cool shows in Singapore. It's the data I have in all the places I love for only $10 a day. Data to Go from Docomo Pacific. Better together.
For over 55 years, Community First has served our island as a full-service financial institution. And now, we're proud to introduce the new Community First Student-Run Credit Union, open in Mangilao on Route 10, Guam's first student-run financial institution, which means it's operated by college students like us, ready to serve all our members, existing and new. We're just down the road from UOG and GCC. Community First Guam Federal Credit Union, now open in Mangilao. This credit union is federally insured by NCUA.
At Micronesia Renewable Energy, values matter. So all of their solar energy systems come with guarantees and the most value. No shortcuts, all quality. It's giving you that solar energy system at the best price. It's using highly efficient solar panels with typhoon-proven racking, built by highly skilled local technicians, so your system performs and saves you money. It's total peace of mind all the time. Not all solar companies are created equal. For experienced quality solar, it's MRE. Call 632-2613. MRE, the smarter choice.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 8 minutes past 6 a.m. this Tuesday morning. I'm Kevin Kerrigan. Here's a look now at some of the top stories from the Guam Daily Post. Cape Air has not yet decided whether it'll continue service between Guam, Rota, and Saipan following United's decision to end its partnership with Cape Air effective May 31st. United Corporate Communications yesterday confirming that it'll launch its own once-daily jet service from Guam to Saipan on June 1st. It will not provide service to Rota. Cape Air Vice President Trish Lorino telling the Guam Daily Post that the decision was United's alone and they're disappointed at the news. She said it's undecided at this time whether Cape Air will continue to provide service on its own without the partnership of United. The Cape Air statement quotes CEO Dan Wolf as saying, "We are deeply saddened by this news and the impact it will have on our employees and their families, along with the impact it will have on the communities they have served for the past 14 years. He said, "We provided exemplary service consistent with Cape Air values." The decision leaves Rota without air service, and CNMI officials are urging United to reconsider. Assistant Attorney General James Collins has filed a motion to disqualify Roland Montanonia and his entire law firm from representing former Department of Corrections Internal Affairs head Lieutenant Jeffrey Limo, who's accused in last year's alleged prison contraband smuggling conspiracy. Collins says the firm has a conflict of interest, citing Montanonia's partner, attorney Caesar Cabot's representation of inmate Sean Paul Johnson, who's a defendant in the same case. Limo's previous attorney, Curtis Vandeveld, was disqualified for the same reason, giving Limo a difficult time to find new counsel. Another attorney with the firm, John Ramos, yesterday arguing in court against Collins' motion. He said a disqualification would create unnecessary hardship on both the defendant and the court. The motion was taken under consideration. We'll have more news after this.
Looking for a reliable power system when the power goes out? Kohler Power Systems are quiet, reliable, and dependable. And they stay that way with regular service and support from the team at Morrico Equipment, because they also offer qualified after-sales service and support for Kohler Power Systems. Kohler generator systems are sold and serviced on Guam by Morrico Equipment. You should call them now at 649-1946 or click morricoequipment.com.
As we journey through the new year, we here at APL continue to find ways to better deliver our island's resources with innovative and cost-effective solutions, lending our helping hands by carrying your freight safely from the U.S. mainland or anywhere in our global network. We humbly honor the opportunities to continue to work and connect with you and your business. We are APL, and we are here for you.
11 minutes past 6 a.m. here at The Point. A student at Simon Sanchez High School injured yesterday after punching several windows and a glass panel at one of the school's main entrance doors. A statement from the Guam Department of Education says the student began bleeding profusely, and as a result of the wounds from the shattered glass window, school nurses administered first aid. Paramedics were called. The student was transported to Guam Regional Medical City for treatment. Not clear what prompted the incident. It remains under review. It is tax day. Yes, last-minute filers have until midnight tonight to drop off their 2017 tax returns. The Revenue Tax Office will be open until 5 this afternoon. A drop box will be set up outside the office after that to drop off off your return up until midnight. 2 satellite locations also set up, one at the Agana Shopping Center and the other at the Micronesia Mall. They are open today from 10 this morning till 4 this afternoon. Returns filed after midnight will be considered late, and interest and penalties could apply. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. Right now with the weather.
Let's take a look at this thing. Partly cloudy skies and isolated showers. Looks like that is what we got going on here today. Let me bring up the map so I can see what's going on. East winds 15 to 20 miles an hour, decreasing a bit overnight. Daytime highs 89 degrees and overnight lows of about 78 degrees. You take a look at the map, which is to the right of your Facebook screen right now. There's not a whole lot in our area. I think we've got some clear skies ahead for the rest of the day. I'm going to vote probably not a day for the umbrellas and the raincoats. Maybe
probably not today.
Yeah,
of course, it's Guam. We're subject to get those little stray showers.
Oh, anything can happen. Sure. I'm just saying that based on the clear skies that we've got out there, I think we're in for a decent shot today. Dry trade wind patterns dominating the Marianas as deep moisture stays well to the south. Computer models and supermodels hint at a trade wind surge that'll bring a few more clouds and showers around midweek, but then drier weather returning and continuing into next week. Sunset tonight at 6:34. Sunrise this morning was about 4 minutes ago. That's it. News and weather together, brought to you by our friends over at Bank Pacific, where others put branches, they place roots.
GTA's best internet deal has arrived. With fiber internet, you get up to 50 megabits of data per second for only $50 per month. And if that's not enough, Fiber Internet 50 plan includes free Wi-Fi. But this offer will only last through the month of April. So sign up today and get ready for faster downloads, more streaming, a better gaming experience, and a stable connection across multiple devices. Conditions may apply. Visit gta.net for more details. GTA, your island, your network.
Ray Gibson Show brought to you by King's Restaurant, serving Guam favorites to families like yours for over 40 years. King's Restaurant, always open and always local.
With the largest inventory of rental equipment on Guam, East West Rental Center is sure to have the tool you need to get your job finished quickly. From equipment rental, party rental, parts and service to used equipment, East West Rental Center has what you need. Call East West Rental Center at 646-1463 or visit them online and browse through their online rental catalog at eastwestrental.com. They're located in Upper Tumon, right across St. John's School. East West Rental Center, providing the island of Guam with quality equipment rentals since 1972.
You ever get stuck in a project and think, golly, I wished I'd read the manual that came with this thing. I understand. I get it, too. Sometimes, even after you've read the manual, you've thought, I still don't get it. I wonder, wouldn't it be nice if there was somebody to call? Real estate is just like that. Sometimes it's pretty cut and dry, pretty easy to get through. And sometimes you run into a couple of things you say, boy, I sure could use some help on this. Call Security Title. They provide solutions for even the most complex real estate transactions. They've seen it all.
In illness and in wellness, Calvo's Select Care is health care that is there for you. That's why over 80% of the Guam medical community places their trust and insures with us. We offer our members wellness and fitness programs for a healthier lifestyle and provide a comprehensive medical network on and off island to help members from unexpected illnesses. Contact Calvo's Select Care today for more information.
The Ray Gibson Show. Morning talk that matters. Call now, 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
It's a quarter after 6 o'clock in the morning. Come on, Tuesday. Let's go. Move it. It's, I used to call this when I was doing music radio. I used to call it the Ray Gibson Get Up and Go Morning Show. Because that was the thing. You just hammer the morning. And by 6:30, problem was I'd bonk earlier. So like 6:30, I'm already playing slow jams. Welcome to the program. Excuse the mess. This is Ray Gibson, namesake of the program, but it doesn't mean that I do this alone. No, all the big stories come to me from Kevin Kerrigan in the Guam Daily Post. Good morning, Kev. Nice to see you.
Good morning, Ray.
Ready to go with another fantastic...
Half a day, Guam.
And thank you very much for the bouquet of interesting stories that we start off with. get around to talking about some of these. So a couple of holdovers from yesterday and updates on a couple of other things. Mike Knight gets the phone when you call 888-8255. That number again is 888-8255. A lot of stuff going on in the community and in a lot of new stuff. We can get to all of that, but frankly, the important stuff is what you have got and some of the things that are rolling around in your head that you think people need to know about, and be happy to get you on the air to talk about some of those things. So tax day. Yesterday and today, we've got a couple of days working here, and for the most part, I'm not hearing a whole lot by way of complaints. I'm not hearing anybody that's freaking out that says, "Oh my God, there are 18 lines I got to jump into." Except that the last person in the story in the Guam Daily Post today, most everybody else was there and said, "Yeah, I was able to file the return," and not very confident that they're going to get their refund anytime soon.
Nobody's holding their breath. Yeah.
But why not? Are they not confident?
Because you'd run out of breath.
In the government of Guam, are they not confident in the administration's ability to follow through on their promises? Hey, hold on. I gotta be truthful. I gotta be. What's the point here? Morally, consistent. So I told the government of Guam that they should not be holding on to $10 million in tax refund money if they had it, and they did find the way to get the $10 million out yesterday. So there's actually two lines working. There's the lines at the Department of Revenue and Taxation, and then you got the lines over at the post office from people, just I got to get in there because a guy on the radio told me the tax refunds are out. Put the key in the hole and see if we got anything happening. So today might be the day. If you're one of those early filers, then you've got something to look forward to. The government of Guam is giving you back your money. There you go. How about that? Yeah, we can eat. Wonderful. Don't have to make any choices between medicine and rent. I just, overplaying that card because I hear it every once in a while.
They're going to have to wait a couple of weeks for their $100.
But did you?
If everybody else has to wait for theirs, then they're going to wait on theirs from me.
So this is because you said it on the radio. It's okay.
Yeah. See, of course.
So if you just
I spelled everything correctly.
Sure. So look, if you owe the government some money, a couple of $100, a couple of $1,000, a couple of $100,000, just call me up on the radio and say and just let them know. Say, Eddie, Les, Mr. Byrne, I'm a little tight right now.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's okay with you, I'll pay you a little bit. I'll get you later.
Yeah. Well, what's the penalty and interest on $100? Like $5?
But see, like I said, now that you've said it, it's okay. You're all right. You're off the hook.
I'm always a rebel anyway.
All right. So that's the way it doesn't actually work like that in real life. But that's the way it is. Now I am interested because, as I said, the last lady in the story this morning was complaining because she had to. They need more lines. There are 5 windows open, but only 2 people are working. They don't have a system. While the line for tax filing was short, the line for tax payments took some time. She stopped by the Agana Shopping Center satellite location on Monday morning to get her taxes done, but was disappointed to find they don't accept payments. Huh? She then stopped by the treasurer of Guam at the Department of Public Works One-Stop Center to pay after being advised by Revenue Tax staff in Agana, but was set back again due to their payment processing machine being down. After the detour, she waited in line for more than an hour at Revenue Tax in Barrigada before she could finally pay what she was owed. Frustrated, she filled out a recommendation slip before leaving for the day around noon.
She told on him.
Yeah, after a day like that, I don't know if there's anything you can put down in a recommendation slip that would be broadcast quality. I don't know that I'd be able to read something like that.
Lots of these.
Yeah. So it's not. I'm glad they've got something happening, but the question I've got is, why are you making it so hard? Again, fiscal crisis, guys. Why are we making it so hard to take money in? I don't understand that. If you got a satellite office, guess what? There needs to be somebody from the treasurer's office there. If you need to be able to do drive-throughs, right? With the treasury office. If people need to pay, you got to find a way to make it super, super easy. If you are paying taxes, you will visit the Department of Revenue Tax in Barrigada, the Department of Administration, the Treasurer in Agana, the Treasurer of Guam at the ITC building in Tamuning. Forget that. No,
No, absolutely not. If I got to go to the ITC building, you're waiting for your money.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because that ain't going to happen.
But you can't even find parking to the place to begin with.
That's the thing. So put a guy out there with a little cash register and a credit card thing.
Like the old ice cream guy with a little change.
Yeah.
Thing.
So you can go to One Stop Center in Upper Tumon and all of this. Isn't there one of these at Public Health? Don't we have treasurer's office at a couple of other places besides? I'm just saying, this is something we're always talking about, how the government of Guam needs money, and you've got people out there that are paying, that need to pay, and we make it hard for them to pay. You have to go here, jump through this hoop, jump through that hoop, jump through the other hoop. Just streamline that process as much as you can, and then we'll get the other $15 million that we can use for tax refunds. What do you say?
Did you mention the driver's license satellite centers that they said they would open up for this purpose just for yesterday?
No,
and today?
That's only for filing.
Okay.
It's only for filing, not for paying. So that's the bugaboo. It's not really the rent. It's just the thing. There's people that have to pay, and in order to give money to the government of Guam, apparently you have to go through a designated treasurer office. I'm telling you, know what? Open up the thing at the pool, at the swimming pool, Coach Ninetti's rec center over in Agania's tennis courts, and let him take in some of that money for tax payments.
Or do like a barbecue fundraiser at the beach. Plenty of folks will show up then.
I'll be all right. I'm just saying, if it's a question of us needing some dough, then let's find ways to make the money come in as quick as possible. And as I said, making the people jump through hoops to try to get that done, maybe not the most practical thing we can do here on tax day. But we'll find out. Maybe they've got a couple of other ideas that they're working on. Again, the buildings will be open until 5 o'clock, close of business, and then after that, they'll go ahead and leave the drop box open until about midnight. If you get it in before midnight, as far as they're concerned, you will have filed on time, and no penalties will be assessed on your part, unless you screw something up a little bit later on, like, I don't know, I forgot to put the check in there. Was I supposed to attach that, Staples? I'll get through it. I promise I'll get through it. So people still talking about the airplane ride and the changes the press release went out yesterday from the guys over at United and their corporate information sources. But we already knew about it because Mariana's Variety up in Saipan got a hold of the story that said that Rota is going to be losing service. Now, it's all a question of perspective, isn't it? I mean, if you're on Guam and you want to go to Saipan, wouldn't it be nice if you could get yourself one of about a dozen first-class seats in the front end of a 737 that's bound for Saipan International Airport? Yeah, that's nice. That's nice. Yeah.
Bring back memories, the old days.
Yeah. And as I said, I honestly don't remember too many times where that jet would stop on purpose in Rota. I'm sure it did, but it's the kind of technology that we have here today, and what's efficient and what's cost efficient, and it doesn't look like it is going to happen for jet service between Guam, Rota, and Saipan. I think what you're going to have to do is go to Saipan and then shuttle backwards, go to Tinian on one of the small planes. Canoe. How romantic. I wouldn't go in that channel in the canoe. I've done that before. It's not nice on a big boat. I mean, a little boat is even trickier. And then maybe another flight down to Rota is the way to do it. And then you hopscotch back up to Saipan and catch the flight from Guam. Learning a little bit more about it. Looks like they're going to have the full... I tried to get a hold of Sam. Sam Shinahara this morning is not on island. He is officially off island as of, I don't know, whenever the plane left. And so we were texting this morning, and because people are asking me questions, and they said, well, you know everybody at United. And I said, yeah, I know all the hot flight attendants. And they said, no, you know Sam, too. I said, yeah, okay. So I got a hold of Sam, and Sam said, listen, we'll talk again later. I'd love to tell you about the service. I said, great, can we talk about the fare? He says, love to tell you about the service. So I don't know what the fares are going to end up being. It's possible he doesn't know at this point either what it's going to cost and how they're going to break it down. Because and I swear to God, I'm laughing about this, is we've got a 45-minute jet jump between Guam and Saipan, and they're going to have the regular class classes. You got your business in the front, going to have a little bit of extra leg room in between there and the Section 8 of the airplane. So this will be interesting. Do you really need to pay first class rates to get all the way up to site? It's only a 45-minute flight, and I don't even know if what kind of service they're going to be doing. We'll find out when it gets done. When I'm able to get Sam on the line and see what's going to be happening. I'm delighted because it means that for the flight attendants around here, I presume they're going to be using the local talent and not be bringing in Honolulu-based flight attendants for this jump between here and Saipan. But as I said, it's all a matter of perspective, isn't it? If you were in Rota, you're going, if you want to see the plane, you have to look up as it passes you. And that might be it. So it could be curtains for them unless the guys over at Cape Air decide that they are going to go on their own brand and say, well, just because United's going up there once a day with a jet, we might still be able to support additional traffic with them, and maybe even maintain the smaller jumps between here and Rota and here in Tinian and here in Saipan.
They are undecided.
Well, I mean, if you're going to stay in the game, you're either in it or you're not, right?
They have until May 31st.
How do you? I don't know. It just seems to me that it's a no-brainer. You're either going to do it or you're not going to do it. So that's what I suppose will happen on that one. There was another thought in my head about it, and I can't remember what it was. One of these days, learn to write things down and put it in some kind of script form. Lana say, good morning. There's Brad asking questions about the liquor cart. I don't know about that, Brad. I told you when I get Sam on the line, we'll find out about the nature of the service that they're going to be doing. It's a 737, and I don't know about you, but it takes a while. The time motion to get the cart, you go up in the air, and once it levels off, then they start with the service, and so you got that time motion to take care of 200 passengers, 166 passengers.
Enough for a cup of water. That's it.
Yeah. And we're not putting ice. We're just going to pour here. There it is, or do it the other way. I remember when they first started that service, they'd give you this little pint of water and Chamorro chip cookies. There you go. Yum. Best part of the trip. Absolutely. 6:27 in the morning, and I was getting started to say good morning and welcome to the point on the Facebook Live. There's Terry Fernandez, Melissa Salas Akimoto, and Melissa, you've got so much to be proud of. Great looking kids and a husband that used the word Brobdingnagian in his editorial in the Guam Daily Post today. Brobdingnagian. And I've been a little bit busy setting up the show since I read that, so I haven't had a chance to go and see what Mr. Webster has got to say about definitions of Brobdingnagian. But it's a very colorful, do you know?
Gigantic.
Yeah. It just
Gigantic?
means really,
Gigantic.
really big. Yeah.
Oh, that's where I heard it. Oh, I remember now. I heard that they used Brobdingnagian in the commercial for IT&E. You remember about a month ago, IT&E had these radio commercials, and they were talking about the huge size of their deal.
Right.
And so they got the guy Raul going, Brobdingnagian.
Yeah.
There you go.
I had never heard that word before.
Yeah, no, because it's Chamorro. It's a Chamorro word. So, yeah, I'll figure that one out. So, congratulations on a very astute husband there. Ramona Nakamura, good to see you. Uncle Carl, Auntie Jerry Gutierrez are up and online this morning. I see Mark Mendiola and Jan Mabini, Shirley Marchessault, Vaughn, Anna Lujan, Daryl. Good morning, Daryl. Nice to see you there. Lillian Cruz and June Bells. Awesome to see you. June's posted something on Facebook. I was looking at that earlier, but got distracted by some other shiny on Facebook having to do with, I'll get it for you here in just a second, because I mentioned this yesterday, and it bugged me because I didn't have the details before I started talking about it, so I thought, well, maybe today I'll actually come through with it. It's the Guam Running Club's big event this weekend. It's a 50-mile and perimeter relay. The relay is 48.6 miles, but if you're going to be running the ultra marathon, it's 50 miles for you. Race packet pickup and captain's meeting is going to be taking place tomorrow. other team members can show up if the captain is not going to be available. $250 per adult team, $220 per student team. Registration will be closed when the limit is reached, and believe it or not, the limit can sometimes be reached rather quickly on this. So if you're interested in joining up, go and download the Guam Running Club's app or visit them at their Facebook, Guam Running Club. It's 6:30 in the morning, and we got plenty more to talk about, stuff that's going on there. And remember, it was me a couple of weeks ago, maybe a week and a half ago, talking about the fake fiscal crisis. And you know who I think is also glommed onto the concept? Mike St. Nicholas. We'll talk about what he has been saying and see if we can scare him up for a conversation before too much longer. But right now, it's time for headlines from the Guam Daily Post. This is Kevin Kerrigan.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 31 minutes past 6 a.m. And the headlines from the Guam Daily Post this morning: health insurance companies competing for the government of Guam health insurance contract must cover care at both Guam Regional Medical City and Guam Memorial Hospital if the insurance company wants to be considered the exclusive provider for Gov Guam. That is one of the requirements in the request for proposals issued by the Department of Administration. Of the 3 health insurance providers on island that have been bidding for the Gov Guam health insurance contract in recent years, only Take Care Insurance has not placed GRMC in its network. Netcare and Select Care have included the private hospital in the health plans they've been offering to Gov Guam employees. If Take Care wants to submit a bid again this year, the RFP requires that, at least in the exclusive provider proposal, it must include GRMC in its network. Take Care did not respond to a request for comment. The Guam Waterworks Authority asking that a portion of property eyed for a future egg farm be reserved for the production of a new water well. Monhita Farms proposing to develop an egg farm and conduct other agriculture activity on the 50-acre public property where the potential water well site has been identified. GWA wants a 300-foot buffer zone to be created between the farming activity and the water well to protect the water against the possibility of contamination from pesticides and other harmful chemicals. Monhita Farms is seeking a decades-long extension to its lease in order to secure financial investment for agricultural activity on the property. The extension, if approved in Bill 256, could give Monhita a 100-year leasehold on the government land, essentially rent-free. Daryl Taggarty, a former legislative staffer and member of the Guam Citizens for Public Accountability, calls the measure another private bill with no interest for the public. A student at Simon Sanchez High School injured yesterday after punching several windows and a glass panel at one of the school's main entrance doors. A statement from the Guam Department of Education says the student began bleeding profusely. As a result of the wounds from the shattered glass, school nurses administered first aid. Paramedics were called in. The student was taken to Guam Regional Medical City. Not clear what prompted the incident. It remains under review. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
The iConnect time in the studio here, I got 6:33. Connect longer for less with iConnect's push-to-talk mobile and internet plans.
Do you carry your lunch to school or work? You can reduce waste simply by using reusable containers instead of plastic bottles and disposable bags. Switch to putting your food in Tupperware and putting your drinks into a thermos or flask.
Catch more Clean and Green Living tips every day and get inspired to make a cleaner, greener effort in your community. Happy Earth Month from the stations of Choice Broadcasting.
Brought to you in part by Pitbull Empire and McDonald's of Guam.
It's time for a Cold Stone break. Try the new strawberry shortcake and fresh lemon pie ice cream. Mix them with your favorite fruits and nuts. No, I like that word. Newts is good. They have newts there. Candies and even the golden Oreo cookies. And golden Oreo cookies, the rare stuff for sure. In fact, these golden Oreo cookies made from the gold that was plundered by the conquistadors in South America. It's that good, ladies and gentlemen. Cold Stone Creamery at Guam Premier Outlets and the Micronesia Mall.
Ready to buy real estate on Guam? Congratulations! But what now? There's so many questions, so many things to do. Where do you start? The best place to start is to call Century 21 Commonwealth Realty, Guam's biggest name in real estate. They aren't the best because they're the biggest. They're the biggest because they're the best. Trust the name. Find out why. Call Century 21 Commonwealth Realty today. 888-2121. Trust the best.
Triple J says yes. Zero down? Yes. 1.9% financing? Yes. Easy trade-in? Yes. No payments for 90 days? Yes. We'll have you saying yes, too, to these amazing deals. Like our big boy truck, the Ford F-150 at only $217 per paycheck. Or the top safety pick Mazda CX-5 Sport at only $194 per paycheck. Or turn heads in the Mazda 3 Sport or the sleek and sophisticated Kia Soul. Both for only $129 per paycheck. Visit us online at triplejguam.com. Some conditions apply. See dealer for details. Triple J, customers first.
Right now, traffic on the point, looking at the traffic gizmos to see what's happening out there. Traffic beginning to build in all of the usual places, Marine Corps Drive, but I'm seeing something unusual just northbound on Route 8 on the way from about where the Mighty McMobile intersection, a little bit north of the Palm Ridge Inn, and a little bit, just a taste north of that. I'm wondering if there might be an accident over there or something worth talking about. Listen, if you're on that road, if you're near the front of that, 888-8255. And let me know about it. Would you? Again, northbound traffic just after the Mighty McMobile might be slowing you down. I'm seeing a buildup of cars out there. More cars than usual in front of the Dededo Sports Complex at this time, and traffic beginning to build in front of the Guam International Airport. That's all I'm looking at right now for Right Now Traffic on the point.
For more than 40 years, we've managed our island's most precious resource, your health. Take Care's benefit plans allow members access to more than 120 medical providers, 40 dental providers, and 18 pharmacies in the region. Take Care's health plans ensure members in Palau, Saipan, and Guam receive the care they deserve. Our programs and wellness classes have proven results for our valued members, and our commitment to your health never been stronger. Take Care, our island, your health plan.
Stop by any Circle K today and overload your For Real. It's simple. Pick out your favorite For Real shake, blend it, and then mix and match any two toppings for only $1. Overload your For Real with a variety of sweet treats like Oreo cookies, gummy bears, classic M&Ms or peanut M&Ms, and Reese's peanut butter cups. Simply add them to your For Real shake for an overload experience and enjoy. For Real Overload, only available at participating Circle Ks. Circle K, take it easy.
The Ray Gibson Show. Any speaker, anytime. Call now. 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
637, Ray Gibson Show on the point. And one of the things that we like to do here is take advantage of the incredible technology that is out there, mixing up what we're doing with the visual radio itself, as well as the cool WhatsApp technology floating around social media. There is video, and this one comes to me in two parts. One of them is the video of a big kid doing some kind of bullying on a smaller kid. I don't know if they're the same age. I can't even tell based on the uniforms that they're in the same school. But I'm told that the big kid, this took place at Simon Sanchez. If you're watching the Facebook live feed, there is video. The guy takes a couple of swipes and makes a couple of connects. So if that kind of thing disturbs you, you might want to just listen. But this is the video that is floating around Facebook and the WhatsApp channels right now. Don't play the audio on this. Okay, don't bring up the audio on this because as it is, with teenagers getting into scrap, they use words that aren't necessarily broadcast quality. So you can see there's a beginning of an altercation. Wham! There's one hit, backs up, gets closer, bang, hits him again. Obvious case of bullying, and we've got clear shots of the kid's face. I hope that the kid and his parents are called in front of the mat and held responsible for this. Now, the other part of the video, and this one here is literally quite bloody. It shows the busted window at Simon Sanchez and the trail of blood through another piece of glass. And the other side of the door, obviously somebody bleeding rather profusely through this. And as you watch the video, it'll take you into a room where the kid looked like he was doing the bullying, is receiving care to manage the bleeding, and a lot of it in there. And so it brings up a couple of questions. The way the story looks to me is that you got somebody that was doing some bullying, got really, really magodai about something, and stuck his hand through a piece of glass. And I have absolutely no compassion whatsoever here. Not a drop of compassion for this kid. I've experienced bullying in my lifetime, and this is the kind of instant karma that anybody that has ever gone through something like this wants to see. I hope that he is brought up on some kind of juvenile charges. Number one, on the bullying, I hope his parents are held responsible for fixing the broken glass. And my understanding is also taken a GRMC. And I hope that the taxpayers aren't left holding the bag on this guy's care. And if you feel the same way, wonderful. If not, let's talk about it. 888-8255. Meantime, let me see. Where do we get to go with this one? This is an interesting call. I think it'll be an interesting call. Old buddy of mine, Tim Rohr. Good morning, Tim. How you doing?
Hey, Ray, long time no talk.
I know. It's been some time. I follow you on Facebook all the time and try to every once in a while give in and watch you as you do your constitutional in the sunset over at the beach, smoking the cigars and.
Well, there's plenty of room on the beach. Let me know when you can come down. You got to come to Agate, though. It's kind of dangerous.
That's. I don't know about that. But I appreciate the offer, and I might take you up on it one of these days, just to, if anything, to go and see what head clearing looks like from your backyard. That'd be fun.
Absolutely.
So the reason why I'm calling this morning is there was something intriguing that you posted last night up on Facebook, and we are in that time, the silly season of politics, and clearly there's a lot of people that are reaching out to members of this community who themselves have not decided on picking up any packets and picking up a packet in your name at the Guam Election Commission. Congratulations. Nice to have friends, huh?
I don't know if that's an act of friendship or what, but somebody did, and well, like you, Ray, I can't even hold a candle to how many times you've probably been asked or pushed, but I've had several invitations over the years simply because I'm willing to put my face where nobody else is, so that's kind of my qualification at this point.
Well, it's a good qualification. I think there's a whole lot of people that are tired of business as usual, and to borrow a phrase from the current D.C. administration, want to see if there's a way that we can drain the swamp around here and get a government that is more responsive to what people really need around here, as opposed to just trying to take care of. I don't know, an elite, a lucky few that were able to win the Gov Guam lottery.
Yeah. So somebody approached me yesterday and said, "Hey, there's like 50 people running. It wouldn't hurt to put your name in." And I kind of laughed. And he says, "I'm going down to the election commission right now. I'm going to get a package in your name." And people have said that before, and over the years, people have even offered to finance my campaign if I would run. And of course, I never did. But anyway, so somebody asked me last night, what I was going to do, and I said, "Well, look. I'm a great believer in God's will. So if I don't do anything and get elected, I'll have to see that as God's will. And we'll go from there." Mm-hmm.
If I do nothing and get elected, that sounds like a virgin birth story, if you ask me.
It would be, although I don't qualify on the first.
I guess I've seen the pictures of the kids. I get it. But if you could, Tim, Is there some kind of a platform? Is there some? What would your first day, your first week? What would you set out to do? I mean, and I know you're right. The conversations come up every once in a while. I'll indulge the fantasy or something like that, and then put it away and get back to more serious work. But with you, and you probably spend a little bit of time indulging in that thought process. What are some of the things that you'd like to see done?
Well, coincidentally, just prior to my friend doing all this, I was listening to a newscast, and sorry, it wasn't on your station, but it was going down the list of the number of the senators and how many bills they introduced, and starting at the top, and I think getting to the bottom, I think the can't remember his name.
It was Chris Barnett's piece. He did that on KUAM the other night. In fact, I touched on some of that yesterday and reminded him that sometimes the job of the legislature is not to make new legislation.
Well, so you're stealing my thunder there. So I think Will Castro came in last at 5, and I would want my first goal as a legislator to beat Will Castro to the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
This idea that we're there to introduce bills. I mean, where does that come from? I mean, I'm a small government guy, but I'm to the point of what we can do to stay out of people's lives. And so my job would be pretty much to oppose most stuff. I mean, there's still necessary stuff, but the idea that we have to beat each other to the to the top of how many bills we can pass is, just absurd. So
Oh,
I guess that would be my first goal.
Yeah, and that echoes the sentiment that I've always had when people say, well, you should run, and I said, you won't like me if I run because I'm going to be the guy that sits in the legislature and votes no on everything.
Well, pretty much, yeah. No, I mean, there are things that I do believe in. One of the things I would vote for would be a part-time legislature. We'll start with that, So there's things I want to change, absolutely.
Well, Weber had a pretty good and interesting editorial the other day, yesterday, in fact, that was talking about that. He says, you got 7 guys that are leaving the legislature, and if you can get an 8th person to leave the legislature and, on the way out, turn off the lights on the full-time legislature, that'd be great. That would be awesome.
We're getting closer every year. It's just the evolution of the thing. But I believe so. And the fact that there's so many people running now just speaks to the fact that, like you just said, people, business as usual, people are tired of. And, we'll see how that goes. I've given it no thought. I'm probably not going to give it any energy. Even the stuff that I've been at the eye of the storm on, it wasn't by my election. It was just by virtue of how things worked out, and I was in it, and so that's how I kind of approach stuff like this, because I really don't have any passion for the job, but once I'm given a job, then I develop the passion. Mm-hmm. That's just probably how I would approach it at this point.
Well, if whoever it was that went and picked out a packet for you, if he needs any help circulating petitions and getting names and signatures together, I'm sure he would not have a difficult time. Should be a piece of cake to get everything that you need in place by the 26th.
Well, sadly, I suppose. As he told me, he says, my capital at this point in time has never been higher. I'm not really excited about the reasons for my capital, but it is what it is, and it happened as it happened, and it's still continuing to happen. And for whatever reason, I was chosen, to be there, and so I have name recognition that other guys couldn't pay for. So whatever he wants to do with it, that's good. But like I said, I would not do anything proactively unless there's something that really got to me, and I felt that I needed to really get in there and do something about it. That hasn't happened yet. Yeah.
It's got the abortion conversation that's got people all hot and bothered again.
And I can always do that, and I've been fairly successful, along with others, the help of others, to pass things without having to be a senator. Actually, senators, they're good for introducing stuff, but as far as fighting the battle that actually gets things done, that's done by the little people on the outside. And so there's that. But of course, there would be, as a senator or whatever, a lawmaker, could be in a position to introduce something and then fight for it. But we got a couple guys in there now that are willing to do all that.
Well, the other thing that you would bring is a perspective of a businessman. Never mind, the high moral ground that I think you'd be able to stand on quite easily. You're also a businessman. You eat at the same side of the table as people that generate business and jobs and taxes in this community. And it kind of amazes me how there's so many people that go through that process over there, I think, without a real understanding of the decisions that they make and how it affects people that are in the trenches of business every day.
Well, I'd like to be like one of the very few that's actually done something other than get elected in life. So people, like you just said, I mean, people that actually go out there and live or die, whether your family eats or not, depends on whether you can make a sale. Mm-hmm. It gives you an opinion, a different opinion of life, and a little bit more, I guess, realism or whatever it happens to be. I've never been on the government dole in any kind of capacity. Well, I did substitute teach at Sanchez for about 4 months. Okay, so I suppose that was it. But other than that, no, it's all been in the private sector and all that. And we need more people like that. Just simply because, right? Because we all the rules are made pretty much. All the laws and stuff governing business and the sales tax thing and all that. As a businessman, and I've had several different businesses, mm-hmm. I've got a lot of opinions on that kind of stuff. So maybe as it could be, like I said, I'm not putting any energy into it, but it could be time for me to put up or shut up. sort of thing, because I've been very critical of a lot of the stuff that's gone on that's hurt businesses. So maybe now's the time to actually do something about it. I'm not sure.
Well, there's no shortage. I think on this station especially, there's no shortage of people that would appreciate the opportunity to put a check mark next to your name in the ballot.
Well, if it comes to the big time, Ray, I want to ask you to be my running mate.
Oh, that?
Yeah, never mind.
Whatever, my with regard to that, my answer has always been whatever you've heard, it's true. So I don't know.
Yeah, I used to say the same thing, but I was just joking, but not anymore.
No, right? Yeah. Just I don't need the scandal. Just whatever you've heard, it's probably true, and get on with it. Was there another question that you wanted to ask? Right?
Yeah, right. That's good, but yeah. So that's kind of where I'm at with that, and it is. As you saw, there was a lot of response to that post, and probably will be more.
Well, that's Mark Zuckerberg. Mark Zuckerberg probably helping Tim Rohr in this election idea. The same way that they've reached out and helped the Russians get Trump elected, they're going to reach in and have the Russians help get you elected.
Well, thank you, Mark Zuckerberg.
All right. Tim, thanks so much for the time. I hate bugging you in the morning. I don't like bugging you, period. But that was just too tantalizing.
Anytime. All right, Ray.
It's good seeing you. Keep praying for me. It's, 6:51, something like that, 9 minutes away till the top of the hour and 7 o'clock in the morning. 888-8255. That's 888-8255 is the telephone number. Now, I don't like to show off. Sorry. Anybody that knows me knows I like to say I don't like to show off. But today I'm gonna show off just a little bit. I did get a note from somebody in the WhatsApp saying, "Is that a Hang 10 shirt you're wearing, Ray?" And the answer is, yes. This is a Hang 10 shirt that I'm wearing. There's a logo right there. It's got the two little feet. There's a Hang 10 shirt from the Hang 10 Shirt Company. And I have not worn this. I've specifically not worn this shirt in a long time because when I do, I look like a sausage. Right? Just I got the fat rolls around the belly and all that, and fortunately I've been able to run that stuff off recently, and so I've taken this shirt out of the closet and happily wearing my Hang 10 shirt. This used to be, for those of you that are old enough, will remember this. Now it used to be that the Hang 10 shirt was a uniform. Back before the kids had uniform shirts and uniforms that they had to wear to school, it was a Hang 10 shirt and Levi's jeans and roller bottom shoes from Tom McCann. Some of you still have pictures of yourselves from 1974 and 1975, and that's exactly what we looked like. And that was for the girls too. Mm-hmm. Girls, there was a what was the place in Agania over by GQ that sold all of that stuff, and they sold cool ranch hats. So one of those Richard Kreitzer places. It'll come to me in a minute. Somebody will chime in on the Facebook.
We used to have J.C. Penney.
Did you?
Yeah, they did that.
We had for us, it's Guam, so it's a kind of a surfer lifestyle, beach lifestyle in the 1970s. You got Beach Boys tunes on the radio, cool rock on FM, and that kind of thing. It's actually the same songs that we play on Boss now.
Oh, okay.
With the same songs that we're playing on the radio back then. And so there were places where you would go to shop. There was Diana's and Ben Franklin and Mark's, and as I said, there were a couple of other stores that sold. You could buy designer Hang 10 shirts, and they were expensive then. This was an expensive shirt now, but it's got the logo, so I kind of gravitate towards it. But the great times growing up on Guam, and so like I said, that was the uniform. We did have a Tom McCann here once upon a time,
and it looks cooler than the alligator.
You think?
I think so.
And the penguin.
Absolutely.
The alligator ate the penguin.
And the polo guy.
Yeah. And so I don't know where you can still buy these things now. I bought this in the Philippines years ago with a pair of skinny jeans that I laugh at now, but just saying. So Hang 10 shirt. Think about that. There are a couple of other things in the table of contents this morning as we move through the rest of the day. Not a whole lot of time to gin up a big deal here, but there are a couple of other stories that are floating around that I think are interesting. Manhita Farms, and Kevin talked about this in the headlines, gets another wrinkle of interesting on it. It was already interesting, big multi-million-dollar egg farm, and we're going to do produce, and we're going to do this, and then they were talking about subleases, and they keep using the phrase virtually rent-free, although, after some of the conversations, there might be some assumptions on what is going to be abated, what is not going to be abated. So we'll talk about that when that bill gets a little bit further along. But I guess GWA has got their eye on that property and they want to put a water well down there.
It is
single
above
water.
the water lens.
Yeah. We'd like to stick a well here, and I'm going. Is this a conflict of interest, or as we used to call it back in the day, is this a harmony of interests? And the answer on that one is I don't know. I suppose we'll have to wait and see if I can go find a couple of places. His over hers. Yes, Libby, I do remember that shirt line. Big black comb in the back pocket. Yes, Greg Massey, you're absolutely right. See, I have some friends now sitting in what I call the warm bath of nostalgia. I'm talking about a Hang 10 shirt, and they're hanging back with their memories. Yes, Libby, I do remember the his over hers logo as well.
How about corduroy pants?
Cords, yes.
Adam.
Oh my God, cords. Those were great.
I had those nice maroon colored ones too.
And then they came out with corduroy shorts. You remember that?
Oh yeah,
That
absolutely.
came up just right there before the fall.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, those were. It's hard to find those kind of clothes anymore. I guess I bought a few years ago, and it annoyed literally everybody in my family.
Because
I bought a pair of vintage 1970s polyester tennis shorts.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was bad. It was bad. I mean, but the great thing about, in the 1970s, tennis is a very classy sport, right? I mean, it didn't start getting junky until McEnroe. But back in those days, a gentleman wore a white shirt and you wore these shorts that were just enough material so that you could have a pocket in them, so you had some place to shove the ball in between serves. Right. Otherwise, these were very, very short shorts. Mm-hmm. And so I bought a pair of these, and what is that? You're not supposed to send me the laughing thing on the Facebook Live. Everybody's doing it, but it was a good time. It was a good time for clothes, and I wore these things out a couple of times, and nobody would go near me. My family would be like, it was like I'd had poop in my pockets or something. Nobody would sit near me, and when I'd stand up, because white legs, right? It was a bad scene. Yeah, we're all remembering Bolt Earth shoes. Thank you very much, Zori Presu. You remember the Bolt Zoris guys that they used to? So I'm trying to remember it, because they weren't sold everywhere. I want to say they were only sold at Golden Island Music. And Golden Island Music is across from where Pokey Fry is now. There used to be two-story building up there, and the second story was they sold records, but nobody ever bought. I'm the only guy that ever bought records from there. Everybody else went to go buy rolling paper and roach clips from there. It was and incense.
Of course,
it was that kind of store. Yeah, we sold records. Yeah, it's a golden memory about Golden Island Music. Bob, what you got today? Okay, so anyway, see, now I'm completely off my track here of conversation. I'm dipping out of my stream of consciousness here. File reports easygoing for the most part over at the Department of Revenue and Taxation, and so we'll see what we can find out about things that you need to know. But I got to say it again, because I want to help you avoid the frustration of going there prepared to pay, like to satellite locations and stuff, and they're just going to send you away. Unless there is something in there that says Treasurer of Guam, you're going to get sent away. Yeah, Brad says they want to hit you with that 1950s paid stamp. Ka-chunk. And that way you know it's all legal. If you're paying Revenue Tax in Barrigada, the Department of Administration, Treasurer of Guam at the ITC building, or the Department of Public Works One-Stop Center in Upper Tumon. If you're going to the ITC building, be warned. Be warned, it was on Facebook and it was in the WhatsApps in the last couple of weeks that there is at least one towing company that is literally stalking the place, waiting for people to park in the wrong slot, waiting for people to get in the wrong line or something like that. And then he's going to go, and while you are inside doing your Treasurer of Guam business, he will be outside attaching the hooks to your car. And once the hooks are in, I think that's about it. There's a few other things, mangoes everywhere. Have you noticed that? It's mango season. There's going to be the mango fiesta down in Agin in just a little bit. Among my favorite reasons, besides Tim Rohr, to go down to the village and see what's going on. They're going to have 5Ks, and they're going to have a little village fiesta thing, and it's going to be a whole lot of fun. But there are mangoes virtually everywhere, and this appeals to the little boy in me. I told you I got my hearing test over at Renee Coffin's place last week. And it took me a while to get out the backyard of that place, because in the back parking lot, there's this massive mango trees. And if I stand in the bed of the truck, I can reach up and grab them. The only reason why I didn't do it is because I respect private property, and you never know where there might be some old man going, "Get away from my tree, boy, otherwise there's going to be buckshot in your butt." It's KUSG. We are The Point, 93.3 KUSG Hagutnia. Coming up, Fox News Live, and then Kevin Kerrigan with a look at all the big stories directly from this morning's Guam Daily Post.
Live from New York, The Fox Report.
I'm Rich Dennison. An internal government watchdog is pointing out some improper spending by a member of the president's cabinet. Fox's Jared Halpern joins us live on Capitol Hill.
A $43,000 privacy booth installed for the office of EPA Administrator Pruitt violated federal spending laws. The Government Accountability Office has concluded. At issue is a federal statute that prohibits agencies from spending more than $5,000 for office upgrades and furnishings without first informing Congress. An EPA spokeswoman says the agency is addressing those concerns and will be sending Congress information this week. The EPA defends the need for the privacy booth for Pruitt to make secure phone calls to the president and other top administration officials without fear of eavesdropping. Pruitt is already facing questions over other security and travel expenses. Rich.
Jared, a $12,000 charter flight by Interior Secretary Ryan Zinke was reviewed and approved by department ethics officials without complete information. That's according to a new report by the agency's inspector general. Investigators are having trouble confirming the suspected chemical weapons attack in Syria.
Despite vowing to allow independent investigators into Duma to inspect the site of the recent suspected chemical attack, Syrian and Russian authorities are now blocking investigators from the scene. Moscow and Damascus both insist no chemical weapons were used, so the lack of access is raising new questions about that claim.
Fox's Connor Powell. U.S. and British officials say they believe Russia is conducting a massive cyber attack on government and private computer servers.
The allegation is that Russian government-backed hackers have targeted and infected computer routers from government agencies to businesses and critical infrastructure. The officials said they have, quote, high confidence that Russian President Vladimir Putin's government is behind the cyber campaign.
Fox's Catherine Herridge at the Pentagon. You're on the Fox Report. Fair and balanced.
Triple J says yes. Zero down? Yes. 1.9% financing? Yes. Easy trade-in? Yes. No payments for 90 days? Yes. We'll have you saying yes, too, to these amazing deals. Like our big boy truck, the Ford F-150 at only $217 per paycheck. Or the top safety pick Mazda CX-5 Sport at only $194 per paycheck. Or turn heads in the Mazda 3 Sport or the sleek and sophisticated Kia Soul. Both for only $129 per paycheck. Visit us online at triplejguam.com. Some conditions apply. See dealer for details. Triple J, customers first.
How do you turn every day into cash back? With the Bank of Guam Visa credit card, cash back just got better. Get 1.5% cash back every month with every purchase. Every pick-me-up, every filler-up, every Sunday dinner, every four-wheel spinner. Whatever comes to mind, even every stroll in the sweet sunshine. Everything your heart desires turns into 1.5% cash back every month. The Bank of Guam Visa credit card, the everyday card. Apply today. Call, click, or visit. Terms and conditions apply. Bank of Guam, member FDIC.
After 3 months of holding on to cash, consumers last month spent more on cars, furniture, and appliances. The Commerce Department's latest report shows retail sales were up 0.6% last month. That's the largest increase since November. Auto sales were up the most in 6 months. Allegiant Air stock losing some ground, down more than 3% after a news report about the company's safety record.
Allegiant put out a statement calling the report a false narrative. It's from 60 Minutes, reporting that Allegiant had more than 100 serious mechanical problems on planes from 2016 through last October, with reports by the FAA finding those planes are 3.5 times more likely than other airlines to have in-flight breakdowns. The CBS piece also includes complaints by the pilots union that the airline discourages the reporting of mechanical problems. Allegiant Vice President of Operations Eric Gus calls that suggestion offensive and defamatory. The airline's fleet includes many older planes that do need more maintenance, with ticket prices generally lower. Chris Foster, Fox News.
Get your pizza while sightseeing.
If you're hanging out at the beach and have a hankering for pizza, Domino's has you covered, offering deliveries to hot spots like beaches, parks, and U.S. landmarks. Now drivers can hand over pizza and other items on Domino's menu to customers at some 150,000 locations, like under the Gateway Arch in St. Louis and by the Las Vegas welcome sign, among others that show up in the company's app or website as Domino's hotspots. The competition has been growing among food chains in the delivery space, with Domino's aggressively making it easy for its customers to order through tweets, text messages, and Amazon's virtual assistant Echo. Hillary Barsky, Fox News.
For a second time, the nation's high court refuses to hear an appeal by imprisoned former Illinois Governor Rod Blagojevich. The Supreme Court didn't comment today in letting stand a 14-year prison term for the 61-year-old. He's scheduled to be released in 6 years. I'm Rich Dennison, Fox News Radio.
Every time I travel, there's something from home that I can't leave without. I take my Docomo Pacific Data to Go to share my stories in Taiwan, check subway routes in Tokyo, be my food guide in Hong Kong, meet new friends in the Philippines, make updates in the States, find my way around Korea, and check out all the cool shows in Singapore. It's the data I have in all the places I love for only $10 a day. Data to Go from Docomo Pacific. Better together.
Chili's lunch combos for just $10. Start your lunch with your choice of a Bud Light, iced tea, or Coca-Cola. Plus, free bottomless chips with salsa. Then choose a variety of fresh entree options like our savory beef enchiladas, quesadilla explosion salad, or our Cajun chicken pasta. Experience fresh flavors in every bite with Chili's lunch combos for just $10. Available Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. At Chili's, fresh is happening now.
As we journey through the new year, we here at APL continue to find ways to better deliver our island's resources with innovative and cost-effective solutions, lending our helping hands by carrying your freight safely from the U.S. mainland or anywhere in our global network. We humbly honor the opportunities to continue to work and connect with you and your business. We are APL, and we are here for you.
Ready to buy real estate on Guam? Congratulations! But what now? There's so many questions, so many things to do. Where do you start? The best place to start is to call Century 21 Commonwealth Realty, Guam's biggest name in real estate. They aren't the best because they're the biggest. They're the biggest because they're the best. Trust the name. Find out why. Call Century 21 Commonwealth Realty today. 888-2121. Trust the best.
Stop by any Circle K today and overload your for real. It's simple. Pick out your favorite for real shake, blend it, and then mix and match any two toppings for only $1. Overload your for real with a variety of sweet treats like Oreo cookies, gummy bears, classic M&Ms or peanut M&Ms, and Reese's peanut butter cups. Simply add them to your for real shake for an overload experience and enjoy. For real overload, only available at participating Circle Ks. Circle K, take it easy.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 8 minutes past 7 a.m. this Tuesday morning. I'm Kevin Kerrigan. Here's a look now at some of the top stories from the Guam Daily Post. Health insurance companies competing for the government of Guam health insurance contract this year must cover care at both Guam Regional Medical City and Guam Memorial Hospital if the insurance company wants to be considered the exclusive provider for GovGuam. That requirement is stated in the request for proposals issued by the Department of Administration this year. Of the three health insurance providers that have been bidding for the GovGuam health insurance contract in recent years, only Take Care Insurance has not placed GRMC in its network. Netcare and SelectCare have included the private hospital in the health plans that they have been offering to GovGuam employees. If Take Care wants to submit a bid again this year, the RFP requires that, at least in the exclusive provider proposal, it must include GRMC in its network. Take Care did not respond to a request for comment from the Guam Daily Post yesterday. The RFP also requires a bidder submit two offers, a valid exclusive bid and a non-exclusive bid, in order to qualify. A non-exclusive bid is priced assuming that subscribers would have the choice of different health care providers as in years past. The RFP was issued April 6, and the bids are due on May 7th. The Guam Waterworks Authority is asking that a portion of property eyed for a future egg farm be reserved for the production of a new water well. Manhita Farms proposing to develop an egg farm and conduct other agricultural activity on the 50-acre public property where the potential water well site has been identified. GWA is suggesting a 300-foot buffer zone be created between the farming activity and the water well to protect against the possibility of contamination by pesticides and harmful chemicals. Manhita Farms is seeking a decades-long extension to its lease in order to secure financial investment for agricultural activities. Daryl Taggarty, a former legislative staffer and member of the Guam Citizens for Public Accountability, calls the measure another private bill with no interest for the public. We'll have more news after this.
With the largest inventory of rental equipment on Guam, East West Rental Center is sure to have the tool you need to get your job finished quickly. From equipment rental, party rental, parts and service to used equipment, East West Rental Center has what you need. Call East West Rental Center at 646-1463 or visit them online and browse through their online rental catalog at eastwestrental.com. They're located in Upper Tumon, right across St. John's School. East West Rental Center, providing the island of Guam with quality equipment rentals since 1970.
So you want to buy a house, but you don't know how much you could borrow. So what do? Well, you come to Bank Pacific and get pre-qualified. Sit down with one of our home loan specialists and let us see how much we can lend you so you know how much you can spend on your new home. Bank Pacific, where we're open to closing your loan in a hurry.
Bank Pacific, where others put branches, we place roots.
Equal housing lender, conditions apply. Come pre-qualified today.
11 minutes past 7 a.m. here at The Point. Cape Air has not yet decided whether it'll continue service between Guam, Rota, and Saipan following United's decision to end its partnership with Cape Air effective May 31st. United Corporate Communications yesterday confirming that it will launch its own once-daily jet service from Guam to Saipan beginning on June 1st. That will not provide service to Rota. Cape Air Vice President Trish Lorino told the Guam Daily Post in an email that the decision was United's alone and they're disappointed at the news. She said it's undecided at this time whether Cape Air will continue to provide service on its own without the partnership of United. The Cape Air statement quotes CEO Dan Wolf as saying, "We are deeply saddened by this news and the impact it will have on our employees and their families, along with the impact it will have on the communities they have served for the past 14 years. The decision leaves Rota without air service, and CNMI officials are urging United to reconsider." 3 women were charged in Superior Court on allegations of stealing youth football funds and possession of methamphetamine. 40-year-old Renee Lynn Cruz, 42-year-old Dorisan Soriano de Leon Guerrero, and 51-year-old Shirley Munoz Santos, charged with theft as a third-degree felony and forgery. Santos is facing additional charges of possession of a Schedule II controlled substance. According to court documents, a representative of the Guam Giants Youth Football Organization filed a complaint with police after finding out that several checks drawn from the Guam Giants account were returned due to insufficient funds. The checks were paid out in cash under a forged signature. Checks were apparently stolen from her vehicle, along with a financial register book and bank receipts while her car was being repaired. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. Here's Ray with some weather.
It looks like partly cloudy skies again. Isolated showers, winds out of the east up to 20 miles an hour. It's going to watch all of those decrease a bit overnight. Daytime highs about 89 degrees, and overnight lows should be about 78 degrees over most of the Mariana Islands. Sunset tonight at 6:34. Sunrise tomorrow morning, we'll put that about 6:06, maybe 6:06 and a half for those of you that need to be a little bit more critical on the time. 7:13 is studio time here on The Point.
EA's best internet deal has arrived. With fiber internet, you get up to 50 megabits of data per second for only $50 per month. And if that's not enough, Fiber Internet 50 plan includes free Wi-Fi. But this offer will only last through the month of April. So sign up today and get ready for faster downloads, more streaming, a better gaming experience, and a stable connection across multiple devices. Conditions may apply. Visit gta.net for more details. GTA, your island, your network.
Yeah, you ever get into that conversation with somebody about, hey, where do you want to eat? You mention a place, and they go, nah. You mention a place, they go, nah. And you mention it. Then you finally go, hey, let's go to King's. And they're saying, yes, Yes, let's do that. Because I know everything that there is to know about that menu, and they know exactly what I like. They know that I'm the one that doesn't like a lot of ice in my water. You know, that's a cool thing about that place. And always has been. 40 years serving Guam favorites to families like yours. King's Restaurant, always open, always local.
Relax, enjoy, and be greeted by the spectacular view of Hagåtña Bay when you visit the Point at the Sheraton Laguna Guam. Gaze into the beautiful sunset as you unwind to the music of Philip Garcia and Natasha on Wednesdays, Mama Shar and Nina on Thursdays, Philip Garcia and Luis Muñoz on Fridays, and Jack Larimer on Saturdays. Open daily from 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. Happy hour from 5 to 8 p.m. with all cocktail drinks for $7. Receive a discount when you present your SPG card. Call Peter Yaban at 646-2222 for reservations at the Point at the Sheraton Laguna Guam Resort.
This program is brought to you by First Hawaiian Bank. It all starts with yes.
Security Title is honored to join in sponsoring Ray Gibson on The Point. I'm Kim Anderson of Chalanpago, and this is where I start my day, listening to the voices of our community and sharing thoughts about issues that affect all of us. It all boils down to our people and our land. Protehi Itinotmo, protect your land. When it comes to your family land, remember to call the professionals at Security Title, just like you call Ray Gibson in the morning.
Ray Gibson brings you closer to the action. Watch and listen live on thepoint.gu.
Yep. Quarter after 7 o'clock in the morning. Hi, my name is Ray. Jerry Roberts in the Extra Point coming up in just a second. We'll take a look at what happened in the markets. But as we've been talking a lot, and there's even a lot of chatter about this on the Facebook pages in the last couple of days about United's plan to put 737 in service for a daily flight between here and Rota. So I tried to catch Sam Shinahara this morning. He is going to be unavailable. He said maybe we'll get together on the radio tomorrow, talk about the in-flight services a little bit more about what's going to be happening, what the process is going to be like for people that fly to Saipan on a regular basis. Now, people that go there on a regular basis, and I know more than one or two people that will catch one of the morning flights and then come back when on one of the later flights in the day, because Cape Air is like a bus service. It's just back and forth. And it doesn't look like you're going to be able to do this in this new service, huh?
No, you'll have to stay overnight and fly back the next day.
Oh, darn.
But
darn the luck.
You can go to the casino.
I've never gambled because I don't think I can ever afford to lose. So that's for me, that's not a big deal. But there's a couple of places. We've got the version of the Chamorro Village down here. What do they call it there? Fiesta something up in Garapan? Do you know the name of that?
That's
Is it the Fiesta something? Yeah. Did you know they tried to do paid parking up there once upon a time? And they might still be out there. They actually had the stanchions out for parking meters. I thought that was the funniest thing in the world. And I actually didn't park there because I wasn't sure until somebody just kind of laughed at me. Said, "You're not from here, are you?" No, that's just decoration, boy. You can park there if you want to. But there's two places along that place that I like to go to. One, there's a Japanese chicken place. They do this excellent karaage chicken in there, and so that's one of the places where I like to go and get a cold beer and something hot when I'm there. And then directly across from that is the Asahi. I don't want to call it a spa because I never get that spa feeling, but it is a massage parlor. Ooh. But it's a legit massage parlor.
Oh, really? Are there such things?
Yes, there are. Yeah, there's like $25 for an hour. And so the last time I was there, I was there for the marathon. I was in there for 3 hours once. It's just the ladies. You want to keep going? Yes. Don't stop. The legs, they're feeling good. They're good. I don't want you to stop now. Having too much fun. 717, and of course there's the Olei Beach Bar, but I never know whether they're going to be open or not when I get there. They're one of those places where they change management about this as often as we change our underwear. So you never know who's going to be there or what it's going to be. But when they're open, it's always a good thing and a great place to watch the green flash. Where to now? Shall we? Oh, now the point I was trying to get to is I was talking to Sam, and Sam sent me a note here because this is an odd time in the airline industry. And this is what was occupying his brain at the time. Lengthy delays for Hong Kong, Beijing-bound American Airlines passengers as the carrier is avoiding, are you ready for it? Russian airspace. Travelers flying to China and Hong Kong from the U.S. face delays of up to 8 hours this week as American Airlines, the world's biggest airlines, diverted some flights to avoid Russian airspace and urged passengers to reconsider their travel plans. Describing the move as a rerouting for selected flights to Beijing and Hong Kong, American Airlines posted a travel alert on its website on Saturday. The change is set to affect several hundred passengers each day on the 3 flights that they've got going out into that part of the world. Or let me say it this way, this part of the world. American Airlines says it was facing restricted airspace on some routes, forcing it to divert, refuel, and replenish crew on 3 U.S.-Asia flights. I wonder if any of those American Airlines are thinking, well, it wouldn't be able to refuel in some of the usual spots. We'll pull into Guam, see if we got some gas over here. Well,
they would be welcome.
Yeah, sure. Get off the airplane. Take a look around. This is a snazzy place. We got nice people. Got coconut trees and lovely beaches. Oh, coconut trees. I killed a thing last night. Rhino beetle. But I didn't eat it.
How long did it take you?
You know what? They're hard to kill. These things are tough. And so what I did was I took the rhino beetle and I put it under the chair, the leg of a chair, and then sat on the leg. And it, pushed back up a few times before it finally gave up the ghost and died. But those things are tough. Anyway, so where was I? 719. Here's what we got to do. Let's take a look at the markets and see what happened. The Dow Jones Industrial Average roared back 212 points. Did I say it was going to do that? I did say it was going to do that yesterday, right? I said the market was going to be down from Friday, and then it was going to come roaring back today, and it did, right? 212 points, almost 213 points, 24,573. Score one for Ray. NASDAQ at 7156. They closed up by 50 points, and the S&P 500 also in the green, but by a smaller number, about 21 points to close at 2,677. Yeah, markets are up. Markets in the Asia's a little bit mixed bag there. The FTSE closed down yesterday. Nikkei closed up. And the Hang Seng and the Shanghai both closed down. On the commodity side, don't have a new number for you on Tapas. I'll see what I can find in a little bit. But oil trading at $66.34, off by $1 a barrel. Not a big deal for us. We don't buy West Texas crude. But, if you got friends and family in the States, they might be giggling about being able to save another 3 cents on a gallon of gas there. So that's what happened in the markets, and brought to you by me in this case. It is about time for us to take care of one of my favorite portions of the program. Always come away with learning something new about Jerry and what he does for a living at GuamTraining.com. Here's today's Extra Point.
What job is your product hired to do? Maybe you've never been asked that question before. Maybe it's time. I'm Jerry Roberts, and let's talk a little about why people do business with you. Next on the Extra Point. People buy products and services to get specific jobs done. For example, people don't want a 1/4-inch drill, they want a 1/4-inch hole. Some years ago, McDonald's was trying to increase the sales of their milkshakes, and they interviewed milkshake customers. Would they want them bigger, thicker, different flavors? After improving the shakes with the interview results, they were surprised to find people weren't buying more of them. So they hired a consultant. He studied a McDonald's location for 18 hours one day, learning that about half of the milkshakes were sold before 8:30 in the morning, and it was usually all that customer bought. That made him curious. He went back the next morning and asked the milkshake customers a question as they exited the restaurant. Essentially, why are you buying that shake so early in the morning? It wasn't about breakfast and getting full. They would grab something at or near work an hour from now. The majority of them had a long drive to work, and they wanted something in their hand, something cold, something that would last them the whole commute, something that would keep them engaged while driving. With that information, McDonald's figured out that they weren't just competing with anybody else who sold milkshakes, but also donuts, bagels, candy bars, fruit, and anything else the driver could hold in one hand and consume. However, milkshakes were more convenient than all those things, easy to access for most people, cold, and because they were so thick, it would take a big chunk of that commute, if not all of it, to finish it off through that thin straw they give you. When McDonald's fully understood what job that milkshake was being hired for, they began making changes. They moved the shakes from behind the counter to the front. To speed things up and get people on the road faster, they also came out with a prepaid card so the user could just run in, swipe the card, grab the shake, and go without having to stand in a line. They also made the shakes even thicker so it took longer to suck them up. And sales? Milkshake sales went up 700%. What job is your product or service being hired for? Can you adapt your marketing to match that? Can you make it also clear to your customers and prospects that you become the obvious choice when they want what you're selling? That's the Extra Point. Get out there and make something good happen today. For 93.3, I'm Jerry Roberts.
You get that? There's always something unusual and atypical of the way your customers are using your products. Always try to figure out what it is. And when you can, figure out how to change your product, enhance your product, and evolve it, if you will. Just a note, we got word from a friend that the street market up in Garapan and Saipan is called the street market. That's it. Didn't come up with a fancy name.
That's the word from Eric Plinsky.
There's no
it's called street market.
Taga heritage thing or anything like that. Riverwalk.
Maybe they changed the name.
Street market. And the other update from Brad is that Godfathers owns the Beach Bar now, and they are always open. So I'd like to make this offer to our friends over at United. They're going to be having an inaugural trip. They're going to do an inaugural. We're flying up to Saipan now in a 737 jet airplane. And so I'd like to have a fam tour. We'll do a fam tour up to Saipan, right? We could do it. I love doing those things. Remember, I used to do them all the time. I did a show in Shanghai and Okinawa and all of this other Australia and Cairns. We did that. You were with me on one of those trips. So I say let's do that. We'll go up to Saipan on the inaugural jump and do a live broadcast from up there and do interviews with all the business people, movers, shakers. We got a what is it, 25-year-old governor up there, right? The guy, actually in his mid-30s or something. A really, really nice guy. It'd be fun to interview him, and maybe we'll get Kalili up there and, ribbon cutting stuff, do all of that.
Sounds fun.
It'd be great because it's in the same time zone. So we wouldn't have to, go to bed any earlier or wake up any earlier.
I was going to be game to go, but then you mentioned
somebody's got to
live
push
broadcast.
Somebody got to push the buttons here. Now there is a way to do it, and we have the technology because everything is we can do it. So everything is on TeamViewer, right? So you could literally push the buttons from up there that drive this show.
Nice.
But that means I'd have to get an extra ticket, and it's probably going to be full.
Not if they give them to us.
We'll work on it. 726. Come on, Sam. Get me on a fam tour to Saipan. Let's learn everything there is to know about it. Even Brad wants to go. Did I tell you guys? I talked with the guys from APL about this, and I'm trying to sort out how to do this so that we could all go like on a cruise because they got these boat rides that go up to Saipan from up to Sugar Dock up in Saipan. I think it would be awesome if we could like have just a rolling cruising party on this container ship that goes up to Saipan.
We could broadcast live from the bridge. I mean,
you
plenty
can
of room up
broadcast
there.
live on the bridge. I was thinking about barbecuing and boozing it up and maybe surfing from the back of this thing.
It's an 8-hour trip.
7:26 in the morning. All right, so let me take the break here and ponder this idea just a little bit more. You can ponder away along if you like, or call 888-8255. Traffic next.
This time, let's hear it from the first KFC female colonel.
Smoky Mountain Barbecue. Fried chicken so crispy and sweet. That crispy fried chicken. All right, stop. I can't do this. I thought if I dressed up like a country music legend, it would help KFC sell my delicious new Smoky Mountain Barbecue.
KFC, it's finger licking good.
Traffic building in all the usual locations. Southbound Marine Corps Drive, Route 3 towards the Guam Regional Medical City, and Route 8 in Barragata southbound into Agutnia. Once you pass Tejan, should be clear going, but you might also see a little bit of a buildup as you make your way towards the mighty McMobile. Traffic slowing down in a number of locations. We've got it right in front of the Guam International Airport, the long light that will take you down to Home Depot. Also on 14 Baker, that is that EPAL Road? That's the one. Yeah, it's just north. Looks like we've got a little bit of a slowdown towards Tumon just before you get to the snaky road that we've got in front of the Hilton. Anything else that you need to know about? There was one other. Yeah, for some reason, traffic seems to be snagged getting out of Fatima Mobile intersection towards Marine Corps Drive. Just maybe a lot of extra cars up there today. 728, that's what it looks like right now. Traffic on the point.
At Micronesia Renewable Energy, values matter. So all of their solar energy systems come with guarantees
ease and the most value. No shortcuts, all quality. It's giving you that solar energy system at the best price. It's using highly efficient solar panels with typhoon-proven racking built by highly skilled local technicians so your system performs and saves you money. It's total peace of mind all the time. Not all solar companies are created equal. For experienced quality solar, it's MRE. Call 632-2613. MRE, the smarter choice.
Oh, this is great. He put it all in one place so I can see what's going on in the race. My friend David Torrey is sending out congratulations to Patrick Silverio. Patrick just scored 3 hours, 19 minutes in the Boston Marathon. Cameron O'Neill, 3 hours, 14 minutes. Nice. Aisha Lynn Perez, congratulations to you on your speedy 3 hours and 23 minutes. I know that Charlie, former resident of Guam, Epperson, and former runner from around here, was running in the race, but I don't have his time yet. So Patrick got 3:19, just awesome numbers. Cameron at 3:14 and 3:23 for Aisha Lynn Perez, and that's just a little bit behind what first place was in that race. For the first time, a woman has won the Boston Marathon, and I want to say that her time was like 2 hours and 59 minutes and something like that. But I'll double check and make sure I've got those numbers right. But I think they're absolutely terrific. So if you're wondering, as you listen to the Boston Marathon stories, if you're wondering if there's any Guam connections on that, yeah, Patrick and Cameron and Aisha Lynn. So congratulations to all of those runners out there doing the Boston Marathon. Think about maybe getting motivated. Was chatting with somebody online last night about all of the steps that she has taken recently to lose a whole bunch of weight. I mean, not like she was huge or anything like that. What's the word? Brobdignagian. She was not Brobdignagian, but she wanted to firm up a little bit, and she started that process and was asking the question about what next. Half marathon next. It's totally doable. Everything is a process. And the process that we are in right now at this point of the program is time for headlines. Headlines now from the Guam Daily Post. This is Kevin Kerrigan.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 31 minutes past 7 a.m. In the headlines from the Daily Post this morning, it's tax day. Last-minute filers have until midnight tonight to drop off their 2017 tax returns. Revenue Tax Office will be open until 5 this afternoon. A drop box, as always, will be set up outside the office after that, so you can drop off your return up until midnight tonight. 2 satellite locations again open today as they were yesterday. They've been set up at the Agana Shopping Center and the Micronesia Mall. They're open today from 10 in the morning until 4 this afternoon. Returns filed after midnight tonight will be considered late, and interest and penalties could apply. Assistant Attorney General James Collins filing a motion to disqualify Roland Montanonia and his entire law firm from representing former Department of Corrections Internal Affairs head Lieutenant Jeffrey Limo, who's accused in last year's alleged prison contraband smuggling conspiracy. Collins says the firm has a conflict of interest, citing Montanonia's partner, attorney Caesar Cabot's representation earlier of inmate Sean Paul Johnson, who's a defendant in the same case. Limo's previous attorney, Curtis Vandeveld, was disqualified for the same reason. Another attorney with the firm in court yesterday, John Ramos, arguing against Collins' motion. He said a disqualification would create unnecessary hardship for both the defendant and the court. The motion is under consideration. 2 men were charged in Superior Court yesterday on allegations of stealing wine from the 76 gas station in Sinahanya. According to the magistrate's report, witnesses reportedly saw 18-year-old Drake Serum and 19-year-old Isaki Nikot take 2 bottles of red wine from the gas station and run away. The bottles were later found stashed near a trash can. Serum and Nikot were both charged with theft as a misdemeanor. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
Were they out of Oxen Palm? Was it? Is that what happened? It's just out of Oxen Palm? Is there nothing here to steal except wine?
You need a little wine to make it go down easier.
Suppose. iConnect time in the studio here. I have 7:33. Connect longer for less with iConnect's push-to-talk mobile and internet plans.
relax, enjoy, and be greeted by the spectacular view of Hagåtña Bay when you visit the Point at the Sheraton Laguna Guam. Gaze into the beautiful sunset as you unwind to the music of Philip Garcia and Natasha on Wednesdays, Mama Shar and Nina on Thursdays, Philip Garcia and Luis Muñoz on Fridays, and Jack Larimer on Saturdays. Open daily from 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. Happy hour from 5 to 8 p.m. with all cocktail drinks for $7. Receive a discount when you present your SPG card. Call Peter Yaban at 646-2222 for reservations at the Point at the Sheraton Laguna Guam Resort.
Wendy's has got your new Smoky Mountain Bacon Cheeseburger. It's got the smoky sauteed portobello mushrooms, melted Asiago cheese. Asiago cheese, doesn't that sound great just by itself? Why don't they sell Asiago cheese in a single serving thing like Kraft American cheese? Right? Why don't they should have a thing like that at the grocery store. I'd buy that all the time. Crispy applewood smoked bacon, which you can get individually wrapped, and crunchy fried onions atop a juicy, beefy patty. It's here for a limited time at Wendy's. Now that's better.
Hafaday, my name is James Moylan, and I'm running for a seat as your senator. The people of Guam expect more from their leaders, and I intend on delivering. If given the opportunity, I will bring my experiences in the military, public, and private sectors. I understand that during challenging times, tough decisions and an open mind are needed. Your tax dollars also need to be spent wisely. If you expect more from your elected officials and expect them to think outside of the box, then I humbly ask for your support this November. Thank you.
Paid for by the committee to elect James Camacho Moylan for Senator, Carlos Camacho, Treasurer.
Is it traffic again? All right, let me see if I got anything clearing up here. No, I've messed in Fatima Mobile still in play. I've also got a little bit more of a slowdown in front of the Dededo Sports Complex. When you get out to the intersection, you'll see a line of traffic over at Malakuti's place. I'm not saying it's at his place. I'm just saying it's kind of in front of that area. Traffic inbound and outbound from the intersection of 1 and 3 starting to get busy. Let me take a quick gander up at 8, 10, and 16, see what's happening up there. Marine Corps Drive. 8, 10, and 16 from Barragata down towards the intersection that takes you into Teedzin is not looking so bad. Up into the Tamuning area, Marine Corps Drive northbound, and then southbound just before you get to around where AK is through there. Once you get into the Hagåtña area, you might also still see a slowdown. I got traffic moving from over by where Wendy's is towards the Hagåtña Shopping Center, and then moving in the opposite direction. There's something about that light at the intersection of Route 4 and Route 7. Don't know what it is. Maybe we'll get the guys at traffic to take a look. Right now, traffic, right here on The Point.
Hey, it's your stomach again. Subway has all new signature wraps, and around the water cooler, the other stomachs can't stop talking about them. Chipotle Southwest Steak and Cheese, Turkey, Bacon, and Guac, Rotisserie-style Chicken Caesar signature wraps. Listen, if I'm honest, as a talking stomach, I don't have a lot of life experience. But I do know one thing. These signature wraps are jam-packed with meat. So what are you waiting for? I'm growling over here. Subway. Make it what you want.
We can't buy this house.
What?
It has 4 bathrooms. Just think of all the bathtub rings, water spots, and stains, plus the cleaning products I'll have to buy.
Didn't I tell you? The house comes with a non-electric Connecticut water treatment system. We'll have clean, soft water throughout the house, protect the water-using appliances, keep the tub, showers, and sinks looking like new, and help our skin, hair, and clothes look and feel great, too. The house even includes a Connecticut drinking water system.
A Connecticut system in the house? We'll take it.
American Water Tech. Smarter water. Better water. Call American Water Tech, 649-2301, or email info@americanwatertech.com. Studio time 7:37. This is the Ray Gibson Show on The Point. My name is Ray. Kevin with the headlines. Mike doing phone work in the master control here, and you can reach him at 888-8255. Might want to jump in on this conversation as well. I've been looking for an opportunity to get this guy on the air here since I started doing this show again back on February the 1st. But he's a busy guy. You know, he spends a lot of time in the gym. Have you seen Mike St. Nicholas's arms? This guy's got these gorilla arms going on, dude. Have you been building up, huh?
No, Ray, but thank you.
Well, that was just it's part of the rigors of running for higher political office here. You need to build up your stamina, your endurance, and sometimes you can do a lot of that with cardio. And then of course you got the other thing of just controlling frustration by going to the weight room and pushing iron around, right?
That's more so what it is. It's just a stress management.
Mike's and Nicholas stressed. I'd never thought I'd heard the day. I could tell though when I was watching the proceedings over at the legislature back when we were in the midst of the fake fiscal crisis controversy that you were starting to get frustrated with some of the things that you were hearing and some of the things that you were not hearing. And now here we are, several weeks after the fact. We've got a new business privilege tax, and we've got the opportunity here for a sales tax down the road, the visible sales tax of 2%, and I think some of your colleagues just got absolutely bamboozled. Is that your takeaway as well?
Well, I mean, it's starting to look like that. A lot of the actions that have been taken of late that are coming as a sigh of relief to the community because there's been some services denied and some furloughs and those kind of things being put on the table. And a lot of the people were very concerned about the stability of the government. And the message coming out of the administration during that whole fiscal crisis debate was that the reason they're doing all of these things is because there's no cash. Now we fast forward to today, a lot of those things are being restored, but the reality is that there still is no cash. The tax increases that were passed, the austerity measures that were implemented, those have not generated any meaningful cash. And so it just further underscores that the deprivation of those services and those threats that were put on the table were not only unnecessary, but they were misleading. And, I don't like passing any kind of fiscal policy under false pretenses. And that's basically what was done during that fiscal crisis. And here we are now with new taxes on the table, with the sales taxes impending this October 1st. And we have the increase in the GRT that took effect April 1. And, how necessary were those things? It's now very, very much up in the air for me at this point.
Well, we didn't have the money at the time to pay Catholic Social Services for the services that they were rendering on behalf of the community, but now we apparently do have the money to pay them on a regular basis as LTEs of the government of Guam, along with benefits. So everybody is better than whole as a result of that. How did we manage that? We didn't have the money before, but we've got the money now. At the time, I remember there was a conversation about, hey, man, we got to do this amnesty here. We got to get this amnesty on the table and get that working. That's a real quick infusion of cash for the government of Guam. Well, it was weeks later before they finally got around to saying that they were going to do something like that.
Yeah, the amnesty, I wouldn't mind moving forward a tax amnesty if that was going to be option number one. Don't raise taxes. Let's do a tax amnesty and bring in what has been brought in already. But to do a tax amnesty now, after we've raised taxes on all of the honest taxpayers who have been keeping this government going, now we're going to give a get-out-of-jail-free card to all the non-payers who have put our people into this position. It's actually quite bothersome for me.
I had not looked at it from that perspective. I just thought it was an interesting tool that we could use right away. And even Les Carlson in the coverage of it this morning says it was an ace in the hole. And I'm going, well, why are we waiting so long to use that ace? The numbers, everything should have been promulgated back in February when we were in the middle of the crisis. There's something that you're right. They could have done that fairly quickly.
They should have.
All right. So you got a new piece of legislation that has been introduced. I have not read it, but as I understand it, one of the operatives in this piece of legislation is to prevent an internet sales tax. Is that correct?
Well, in the course of the whole fiscal crisis debate, there was an amendment that was made to the bill to actually tack on online sales for these to be eligible for these sales taxes. And so what this bill does is it just basically repeals that particular amendment, and it's just one other stopgap measure that I'm trying to put out there to prevent the cost of living from rising for our people come October 1.
Noted, but and you have I've always thought of you as more of a fiscal conservative than anything else. But there's a balance on that. You've got to have income. You've got to have some revenue, and to keep your expenses down. I kind of understand that, and I think you and I have always been on the same page on this. But with regard to the internet sales tax, in fact, the Supreme Court's going to take that up today and possibly strike out the part where Amazon or eBay or something like that would have to have a physical presence in this market. Maybe they could just have a virtual presence, and that would allow them to collect taxes on behalf of the government of Guam and apply them as revenue. So,
that's
notwithstanding any bill that you have, I mean, it's a possibility that that could be coming down the pipe.
Well, it could come down the pipe, but that would still be contingent upon the existence of a sales tax anyway. And so I'm trying to repeal the applicability of a sales tax to the online purchases so that won't be a necessary factor for them to put into play. And here's why, Ray. Guam's market, we always forget that Guam's market is not a large market. Our purchasing volumes are not huge. And one of the reasons why we have a very difficult time getting companies to ship to Guam is because the hurdles to be able to do so, just because we're outside of the U.S. customs zone, is already cumbersome. And, I was just speaking with an online retailer just the other day, and they shared with me that, they were, when they were living in the States, they were part of the Amazon marketplace, and they wouldn't ship to Guam. And they felt bad because, they're from here, but the paperwork and the logistics necessary to be able to cater to the small volume of orders was just eating up too much of their time as a small business.
Well, it eats up a lot of their margin, too.
And so a lot of these businesses that currently do business with Guam, if the hurdles get too high, we're actually going to start losing out on access to goods that we've become accustomed to. And we shouldn't continue to make Guam an unattractive market based on our sales volumes by making it even harder to do business here. It's just going to deprive our people. And that's just something that I've always been against. I've always been a fiscal conservative. I've always been very mindful of our people and the impact on their lives. And if we start losing online retailers, it's going to hurt people even more.
Mike, do you suppose you'll get lucky on either one of the measures that you've introduced? I mean, there's one that you've introduced to basically repeal the whole rigmarole that was passed, and with the amendments that were flying fast and furious. Do you think you might get lucky on that and be able to convince the other members of the body? It was pretty close. Came down to Fernando Estevez and his vote. You think you might be able to convince the body to go in the other direction?
I think we may be able to get it done. I definitely feel like if we aren't able to get it done sooner, October, when those sales taxes kick in, that's the month just before the general election, and political realities might actually set in.
There is that possibility. Are you hearing from your constituents, Mike? Are you hearing from your constituents that they are feeling the cost of goods going up when they're going to the grocery stores, when they're hitting the gas stations, that they're really starting to feel the pinch on some of these enhanced revenue opportunities for the government?
I actually am, Ray, and it's quite sad. There's some people who I run into on a fairly regular basis, and I'll run into them in their place of work or their place of business, and just recently, since the recent increases, they actually pulled me to the side, and it was also in the context of their tax refunds. And they tell me they'll stop whatever it is they're doing, and they'll talk to me for a good 10 to 15 minutes about everything that's been going up in their lives, about how badly they need their refunds, and about how they need it even more because things are just so much harder. And these are realities that are settling in for our people, and it's painful for them, and it's very, very sad.
There's obviously going to be some questions that I need to follow up on with regard to your candidacy for the Washington delegate position. Will you support Frank Uggan's measure to repeal the gas tax increase?
I definitely would. I think that, especially for the future projected increases, because we implemented in stages when it was passed. I didn't vote for that, but as it was passed, that's how it works out. The increases that were recently implemented, I don't know about rolling those back, because when you roll that back, it might not necessarily result in a reduction of the prices. But the future increases, I think that if we repeal the future increases, that will definitely prevent the prices from going up further.
There is that reality, and something that I'm uncomfortable admitting, but obviously every once in a while you got to say it is what it is. And the fact that there has been a % increase in the business privilege taxes means, as far as I'm concerned, that increase is permanent. Even if the legislature were to roll it back today, even if you were able to convince the body that they needed to go back to 4%, I don't think it's going to make a change in the pricing. The businesses will recognize that there is a new ceiling price for the goods and services, and unless there's a lot of competition and unless it happens very quickly, I can see whatever increases they put in place to meet the obligation for this new business privilege tax becoming permanent.
You're absolutely right, Graham. That's one of the reasons why this whole scheme of increasing the business privilege tax 1% and then repealing it in October 1st and replacing it with a sales tax, I really think is just going to create a compounded price increase environment for our people. Since the BPT already went up, we should just let that ride and allow for that to be the new revenue stream and repeal these sales taxes before we start adding taxes on top of taxes.
But there was a conversation, and I know that a lot of your business guys and friends, I'm sorry if it feels like it's taking a long time. It's just that I haven't had a chance to talk to Mike since before I got on the air. And frankly, there's been a lot of stuff out there to talk about. But among all of our business buddies, Bobby and the guys at the Chamber of Commerce, they all seem to be in love with the idea of the visible sales tax. Would you support a business privilege tax of 2%, and we'd put that money in the set aside and make sure that all of our bond obligations that are secured by the BPT get paid with something that is called business privilege tax, and then add a 2% visible sales tax? Is that a scenario that you can support?
We probably can work on something like that, but we definitely need to sit down with the business community and get a very clear understanding of how all that transparency is going to result in at least a price-neutral environment for the consumers. Because we're talking about the businesses, we're talking about the government, but we also have to always include the people in that conversation and whether or not the consumers are going to be realizing any additional increases, or if they're going to be able to get away with a cost-neutral environment as well.
Well, that's that's what I'd like to see. I'd like to have it remain at 4%. If we've got to stand on an obligation that a GRT is a GRT and has to pay GRT bonds, then okay, until those are paid off in another dozen years or otherwise refinanced, if we are so lucky, then we transition that into a full-blown, make the conversion between BPT and a visible sales tax. It will be tricky for some businesses. I know a couple of businesses that have already reported that when we get to a point where we're doing a BPT and a visible sales tax, that they need to show on their receipts and their invoices. In some cases, it's going to be called for a rewrite of some of their accounting software because it isn't built for that. It's built for one kind of tax, not two kind of tax.
Right.
Yeah. So that'll be a little bit tricky for them. Can I ask you some questions about being a representative for Guam and next year?
Absolutely. Yeah. Always welcome, Ray.
Now's a good time. I've got, when people start talking to me about work that needs to be done in Washington, D.C., for me it comes down to a handful of things. Custom zones among them. It's not number one, but thanks for bringing it up. EITC and the funding for that, we should be treated more like the states in that regard. We need to do way better in compensation for compact impact recompensation. And then there's the Jones Act. What else is on your list?
Well, I mean, definitely those are on the list. I also want the SSI, Supplemental Security Income. Guam is one of only a few jurisdictions that doesn't get that, and that's a huge, huge benefit for our people with disabilities. That's a $750 a month payout for anybody with a disability, and that can really, really help our community be able to get the services they need out there. So it's definitely something on the top of my list. But all those items that you mentioned, Ray, I really believe that we can tackle them if we approach them differently. For example, the EITC, the Earned Income Tax Credit. That right now we pretty much keep going back to the Fed saying, give us that money, and I think that we can score a point on that if we go back and remind them that, hey, you know what, you guys already reimbursed us for the additional child tax credit, the ACTC. The federal government actually reimburses the people of Guam for paying out that credit. And so we need to go back to them and say, hey, if the logic is that this ACTC is something that the federal government should be reimbursing, can you explain to us why that logic does not apply to the EITC? And once we have that conversation, then let's start trying to draw the lines and connect the dots to be able to get that reimbursement in place.
It sounds easy, like most things. It feels like there's an easy solution, and maybe have logical conversations with reasonable people. But it seems to me that over the years we've tried to have logical conversations with reasonable people, and keep getting shut out here. I think in terms of the compact impact conversation and the GAO reports that have come out and basically absolutely say we'd love to be able to recompense you, but you don't have any method that we trust to be able to show that what you call reimbursable expenses are in fact reimbursable expenses to be charged against the migrant community on Guam. But nobody's come forward with any mechanism to be able to do that that everybody will agree on. And so, point I made yesterday was, for all of the resources that the state of Hawaii has, they have issues with compensation as well. And if a favorite state like Hawaii can't get any love out of Washington D.C. With all of the tools that they have, what more are we going to be able to do?
And I think, in fact, you hit the nail on the head. We have not sat down and come to terms with what is an acceptable formula for the compensation. And part of the hold up there is that on the Guam side, we come to them with this whole laundry list. And I know that there's some people say, oh, they owe us $1 billion, and it's like, once you bring that to the table, the federal government is going to cross their arms and say, I ain't giving $1 billion, and then of course everybody walks away unhappy. We need to sit down and we need to say, let's come up with a reasonable formula. And for us, not only should the formula include the cost of providing health care, the cost of providing education, but the reasonable formula should also include the costs that the federal government, I think, would actually agree with, and that is that on the Fed side, they constantly say that you need to factor in the economic contribution of the migrant community. And I say, let's do it. Let's factor in the economic contribution, because guess what? When you factor that in, you're also going to factor in the EITC that we owe the community for that economic contribution. And kill two birds with one stone. If we actually sit down at the table and say, let's come up with a, and oh, by the way, that's also going to include the EITC that we're paying out for these communities.
It's interesting. It's interesting that you run the parallel between that and the ACTC. 7:53 in the morning. Hope you don't mind. I want to bring Ryan into the conversation. He has a question for you, Senator. Ryan, go ahead. You're on with Senator Mike St. Nicholas.
Hey, gentlemen. Good morning.
Buenas.
Hi, morning, Ryan.
Hi. Quick question. In reference to the GRT, how do the two of you view exemptions for specific businesses on the island on a macro general perspective as it pertains to GRT overall? That should specific businesses or businesses in general be exempt from GRT? And if that's the case, then do you feel that businesses that are subjected to pay GRT and other businesses who are exempt, do you feel that's discriminatory in any way?
If you're talking about exemptions that are due as a result of special deals that are made with the Guam Economic Development Authority, because I built a hospital, or I was going to build a waste energy plant, or if I was going to do something that was going to hire 500 people, like, I don't know, a hotel or something, I don't necessarily have a problem with that. Sometimes you need to be attractive in order to get people to invest in your community, and tax exemptions are a legal way for us to do that. So I don't have a problem. Mike, what do you think?
Well, it's really a double-edged sword. I mean, when we create those kind of exemptions, we do attract those kind of opportunities, but at the same time, we also create an unlevel playing field in the marketplace that's going to cause the competitors to those establishments that are able to get that exemption to be at a disadvantage, and that just warps the market. So I would prefer not giving out any future exemptions unless we can really, it really needs to be something that makes sense. But as for the existing exemptions, one of the risks of rolling those back, if they're not already scheduled to expire, if they're kind of a perpetuitous exemption, one of the risks of rolling those back is that it may result in price increases that weren't originally being felt by the community, and those price increases could be compounded if it's a business-to-business type of price increase that's going to result in one business having to pay as a result of a removed exemption, passing that cost on to a business that's going to resell a product or a service that's going to have to now price that into their price. So
Sure.
It's tricky, but I'm not a very big fan of unlevel playing fields.
Yeah, I concur. And the reason why I bring this up is, okay, so if an individual is a 1099 and that individual is subjected to GRT, income, FICA, et cetera, if I were going to compare one major hotel or one major grocery chain to this little tiny 1099 business, why should the tiny little business, who clearly doesn't even scratch the surface as far as even net margins compared to a hotel or a popular grocery chain, why should they get exemptions as opposed to a 1099 who's, let's say, netting about $50,000 a year, as opposed to a business that is netting in the 7 digits consistently. So, I mean, they're not, and they're local. They haven't been attracted by, platforms that Gita puts out or any type, but they're locally based, homegrown entrepreneurs. So, how do you feel about the small guy who is subjected to pay all these taxes, as opposed to the larger businesses that are not obviously foreign, they're domiciled here? What makes them, or what gives them the right to be exempted from GRT?
I'll just very quickly say that if a business or an industry gets to that point of maturity, and it does become one of those situations where as you point out, we've got a warped playing field, then maybe it's time to review the qualifying certificates and remove that industry as part of the exemption pool. Mike?
Well, one of the things I really like the question around, because one of the things that gets us really stuck right now in the GRT, or the business privilege tax, is that we need to have 3% of it go to pay for our bonds. Our small businesses don't make up a large component of that 3%. I think they make up the greater component of the 1%. And so I'm of the mind that instead of rolling back the GRT and replacing it with a sales tax, I think we should increase the small business exemptions so that the businesses that you're talking about don't have to pay any more GRT, and the much larger ones that are, not really the best employers and don't, have as much vested interest in the community with respect to, having all their assets here. I think that those should continue to pay the GRT and continue to pay the bond tax.
I can imagine a couple of big signs in my head. Senator, I got to let you run here. I got the Fox News coming up. Ryan, I like your questions. Keep calling, buddy.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
All right. The radio station is Kilo Uniform Sugar Golf, KUSG, Hagutnia. That's us. And Fox News Live's coming up next. On the other side of that, Kevin Kerrigan with a big look at all the big stories in today's Guam Daily Post. That's ahead right here on The Point.
A battle over seized documents. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News.
He has never thought that the little man, or especially women, and even more women like me, mattered. That ends now.
Adult film star Stormy Daniels after hearing from President Trump's personal lawyer, Michael Cohen.
Michael Cohen's legal team, along with President Trump's legal team, has been asking to have some form of view of the documents that were seized. They want to check and see if there is attorney-client privilege that may be in jeopardy with all of this. And the bottom line is that Judge Kimba Wood has said that she is going to let the government put everything together, make copies of all of the documents, the physical and electronic copies, and remember there was a lot of it, and then give those copies to Michael Cohen's team, who will then confer with Trump's legal team.
Fox's Laura Ingle Daniels claimed she had an affair with President Trump over a decade ago and was paid by Cohen to keep quiet, and Cohen revealed in court that he has another client, Fox News host Sean Hannity. Hannity issuing a statement reading in part that Cohen has never represented him in any matter, but he has asked him legal questions where he wanted Cohen's input and perspective. Protests in Philadelphia after 2 men were arrested for being inside a Starbucks and not buying anything. Fox's Colonel Scott has more live.
Lisa, some Philadelphians are angry at the coffee chain for its treatment of the black men over the weekend. Starbucks CEO Kevin Johnson went to the city to address it, suggest more training, and to apologize to the men arrested. But Philadelphia Councilman Kenyatta Johnson says perceptions and attitudes have to change first.
I'm of the firm belief if these particular 2 young men didn't have sweatsuits on, they wouldn't have been targeted.
Some Philadelphians have called for the firing of the employee who asked for police to be called, Lisa.
Thanks, Gernal. Fox News, fair and balanced.
Chili's lunch combos for just $10. Start your lunch with your choice of a Bud Light, iced tea, or Coca-Cola. Plus, free bottomless chips with salsa. Then choose a variety of fresh entree options like our savory beef enchiladas, quesadilla explosion salad, or our Cajun chicken pasta. Experience fresh flavors in every bite with Chili's lunch combos for just $10. Available Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. At Chili's, fresh is happening now.
Yes, money is something we should talk about and plan for and use to make life better. It's how we make our giant leap from where we are to where we want to be. So let's talk together and work together to check off shiny new kitchens, fully nested dorm rooms, and bucket lists with more countries than our passports can hold. Let's check them all off together. First Hawaiian Bank. It all starts with yes. Member FDIC.
Inspectors having a tough time proving there was a chemical weapons attack in Syria.
Despite vowing to allow independent investigators into Douma to inspect the site of the recent suspected chemical attack, Syrian and Russian authorities are now blocking investigators from the scene. Moscow and Damascus both insist no chemical weapons were used, so the lack of access is raising new questions about that claim. Of course, the United States, along with Great Britain and France, launched strikes against the Assad regime Saturday morning, after concluding Syrian forces used chlorine gas to kill 40 people in Douma. In Jerusalem, Connor Powell, Fox News.
NASA's newest spacecraft will have to wait another 2 days before lifting off. 2 hours before tonight's scheduled liftoff, SpaceX announced it was delaying the launch for additional rocket analysis. The satellite, known as TESS, will survey almost the entire sky, looking for any planets that could harbor life. History on both the men's and the women's side of the Boston Marathon.
For the first time since 1985, an American woman crosses the finish line first in Boston.
The rain continues to come down, and now the drought is over.
Audio courtesy of NBC Sports Network. Desi Linden clocking in at just under 2 hours and 40 minutes through torrential rain and cold winds to become this year's women's champ at the Boston Marathon, the first from the U.S. since Lisa Rainsberger 33 years ago. On the men's side, Japan's Yuki Kawashi was the shock winner, becoming the first male Japanese runner to win the men's race at the Boston Marathon since 1987. He finished the 26.2 miles in just under 2 hours and 16 minutes. Matt Napolitano, Fox News.
Bruce Springsteen treated his 92-year-old mother to an early birthday present until Mother Nature spoiled the party. The 68-year-old and his mom, Adele, danced to 2 songs last weekend at the Wonder Bar in Asbury Park, New Jersey, before severe storms caused the club to lose power. Adele Springsteen turns 93 May 4th. Lisa Lacera, Fox News Radio.
Don't dump that cooking water down the sink. You can reuse it for other purposes, such as watering your plants or garden. After boiling pasta or steaming veggies, let the water cool and then recycle away.
Catch more cleaning green living tips every day and get inspired to make a cleaner, greener effort in your community. Happy Earth Month from the stations of Choice Broadcasting.
Brought to you in part by Leo Palace Resort Guam. Come to our home and be part of our story. Visit on Facebook and Instagram for special promotions every month.
Valley Finance has been serving the people of Guam since 1959, and they'll continue to be there for you in the years to come. Whether you're looking to get a personal loan for that summer vacation or paying off those long overdue bills, Valley Finance has got you covered. Apply for a personal loan from $1,000 up to $3,500 by calling Valley Finance in Hagåtña at 475-4545, Upper Tuon 647-5626, or in Dededo 633-4473. Valley Finance has been serving the people of Guam since 1959.
With the largest inventory of rental equipment on Guam, East West Rental Center is sure to have the tool you need to get your job finished quickly. From equipment rental, party rental, parts and service to used equipment, East West Rental Center has what you need. Call East West Rental Center at 646-1463 or visit them online and browse through their online rental catalog at eastwestrental.com. They're located in Upper Tumon, right across St. John's School. East West Rental Center, providing the island of Guam with quality equipment rentals since 1972.
When you think about better water, think Kinetico softened water. Kinetico water conditioners work like no other, supplying a continuous flow of luxuriously soft water without disruption and without use of electricity. After all, better water flows from better thinking. Kinetico.
American Water Tech. Smarter water, better water. Call American Water Tech at 649-2301 or email info@americanwatertech.com.
Security Title is honored to join in sponsoring Ray Gibson on The Point. Half a day. My name is Jesse Cruz from the village of Maina, and this is where I start my day, listening to the voices of our community and sharing thoughts about issues that affect all of us. It all boils down to our people and our land. Protehi Itanomo. Protect your land. When it comes to your family land, remember to call the professionals at Security Title, just like you call Ray Gibson in the morning.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 8 minutes past 8 a.m. this Tuesday morning. I'm Kevin Kerrigan. Here's a look now at some of the top stories from the Guam Daily Post. Guahan Academy Charter School challenging the findings of the Western Association of Schools and Colleges that is threatening their candidacy accreditation. The association is the official accrediting body for the U.S. territories. They notified the school that its candidacy may be withheld due to, among other things, concerns over the loss of instructional days, temporary classrooms being non-conducive to learning, and a number of financial issues. In its response, the Guahan Academy Charter School called the Commission's conclusion that the school lacked sound planning without merit, and the school maintains there is no violation of Western Association policies. Withholding candidacy status is not justified. Candidacy is an initial phase towards obtaining accreditation, which all Guam charter schools are required to obtain by the 5th year of operation. The Guahan Academy is sunsetting on the 5th year this year. Cape Air has not yet decided whether it'll continue service between Guam and Rota and Saipan following United's decision to end its partnership with Cape Air effective May 31st. United Corporate Communications yesterday confirming that it'll launch its own once-daily jet service from Guam to Saipan on June 1st. It will not be providing service to Rota. Cape Air Vice President Trish Lorino telling the Guam Daily Post that the decision was United's alone and they're disappointed with the news. She said it's undecided at this time whether Cape Air will continue to provide service on its own without the partnership with United. The Cape Air statement quotes CEO Dan Wolf as saying, "We are deeply saddened by this news and the impact it will have on our employees and their families, along with the impact it will have on the communities they've served for the past 14 years. The decision leaves Rota without air service, and CNMI officials are urging United to reconsider." We'll have more news after this.
So you want to buy a house, but you don't know how much you could borrow. So what do? Well, you come to Bank Pacific and get pre-qualified. Sit down with one of our home loan specialists and let us see how much we can lend you so you know how much you can spend on your new home. Bank Pacific, where we're open to closing your loan in a hurry.
Bank Pacific, where others put branches, we place roots.
Equal housing lender, conditions apply. Come pre-qualified today.
In illness and in wellness, Calvo's Select Care is health care that is there for you. That's why over 80% of the Guam medical community places their trust and insures with us. We offer our members wellness and fitness programs for a healthier lifestyle and provide a comprehensive medical network on and off island to help members from unexpected illnesses. Contact Calvo's Select Care today for more information.
11 minutes past 8 a.m. here at The Point. Health insurance companies competing for the government of Guam health insurance contract must cover care at both Guam Regional Medical City and Guam Memorial Hospital if the insurance company wants to be considered the exclusive provider for GovGuam. That's one of the requirements in the request for proposals issued by the Department of Administration. Of the 3 health insurance providers that have been bidding for the government of Guam health insurance contract in recent years, only Take Care Insurance has not placed GRMC in its network. Netcare and Select Care have included the private hospital in the health plans that they've been offering to GovGuam employees. If Take Care wants to submit a bid again this year, the RFP requires that, at least in the exclusive provider proposal, it must include GRMC in its network. Take Care has not responded to a request for comment. 3 women were charged in Superior Court on allegations of stealing youth football funds and possession of methamphetamine. 40-year-old Renee Lynn Cruz, 42-year-old Dorisan Soriano de Leon Guerrero, and 51-year-old Shirley Munoz Santos, charged with theft as a third-degree felony and forgery as a third-degree felony. Santos facing additional charges of possession of a Schedule II controlled substance. According to court documents, a representative of the Guam Giants youth football organization filed a complaint with police after finding out that several checks drawn from the Giants account were returned due to insufficient funds. The checks were paid out in cash under a forged signature. The checks were apparently stolen from the victim's vehicle, along with a financial register, book, and bank receipts while her car was being repaired. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. Weather now with Ray.
I like partly cloudy skies today with isolated showers, please. A side to east winds up to about 20 miles an hour. Daytime highs 89 degrees and a cool 78 degree overnight is what we're talking about in the weather forecast. Sunrise today was about 6:07. Sunset tonight at 6:34, and the sun's going to come back up tomorrow. Again, a little bit earlier as we move through the year. That's what's going to happen. We'll start seeing the sunrises coming up a little bit earlier. It won't be that long now. Within another week and a half, we'll start talking about sunrise super early in the morning. Before we do anything else, do me a favor, hit the Right Now music bed if you got it handy. The Right Now traffic bed. Just looking at things before we jump into a full-blown traffic report. Just a quick update on what I'm seeing on the traffic gizmos coming out of 27 Alpha. That's the one that's going to take you by the new flea market there. Got a line of traffic that seems to be building up through there and slowing things down. Traffic in Barragata, both directions in front of Route the intersection of 8, 10, and 16 is seeing a little bit more traffic than usual. And there was something still going on out in the Pago area just before you get into Ordot on the main highway there. Inbounds, that is towards Ordot, Sinahanya, traffic moving in that direction seems to be building and slowing down as well. Once you get into Agana, slow between the Agana Shopping Center and the Marine Corps Drive intersection with 4 if you're headed through in that direction. If you're coming in on Route 4 towards Agana, you might see a little bit of a slowdown before you get to Agana Shopping Center. Marine Corps Drive, busy as usual. That's what's happening on your roadways now. Right now, traffic on the point.
GTA's best internet deal has arrived. With fiber internet, you get up to 50 megabits of data per second for only $50 per month. And if that's not enough, Fiber Internet 50 plan includes free Wi-Fi. But this offer will only last through the month of April. So sign up today and get ready for faster downloads, more streaming, a better gaming experience, and a stable connection across multiple devices. Conditions may apply. Visit gta.net for more details. GTA, your island, your network.
What am I supposed to tell you about Eat at King's? There's another one of the opportunities I have to tell you to go eat at King's. I don't need to remind you. It's always been there for 40 years, serving favorites to you and your family, and they'll continue to do it. Always open, always local. King's Restaurant.
For more than 40 years, we've managed our island's most precious resource, your health. Take Care's benefit plans allow members access to more than 120 medical providers, 40 dental providers, and 18 pharmacies in the region. Take Care's health plans ensure members in Palau, Saipan, and Guam receive the care they deserve. Our programs and wellness classes have proven results for our valued members, and our commitment to your health never been stronger. Take Care, our island, your health plan.
Portions of the program also brought to you by Security Title, making sure you actually own the property you think you just bought.
Ready to buy real estate on Guam? Congratulations! But what now? There's so many questions, so many things to do. Where do you start? The best place to start is to call Century 21 Commonwealth Realty, Guam's biggest name in real estate. They aren't the best because they're the biggest. They're the biggest because they're the best. Trust the name. Find out why. Call Century 21 Commonwealth Realty today. 888-2121. Trust the best.
The Ray Gibson Show. News to fill your mind. Talk to get it out. Turn it up. Now tell a friend.
And it's going to build up and then do a thing called drop. But does this one do that? No. I like it when the drop is so big it makes my speakers explode. Those are so cool.
It does it like 45 seconds into the song.
That's all right. Well, we'll just move on then. 8:15 in the morning. Hi, it's the Ray Gibson Show here on the Point, and you can reach me raygibsonshow@gmail.com. One of my favorite ways for you to reach out to me is to grab me on the Facebook Live and see what's going on. There's Natalie. Hey, Natalie, nice to see you there. Waylon Joseph, Jonathan Bullwinkle is back on this morning. I see Gerard Affligui, John Wixton, Ruben Mortera, some of these new names. Some of them are folks that we've talked about before. I see Eunice Mendiola, and there's Paul Bloss and James Howard and Yuka Hechinova from over at the Public Auditor's Office. I see Andre Bainham, Andrew Santos Taidenko, Joe Cruz, and Frank Tejito has been on for a little bit. Let's turn on the microphone as we bring in Sports with Blake Cup. And now, it's Blake with Sports.
Good morning.
Yes,
good morning.
it is.
Good morning. So I did get I saw a headline somewhere. I'll see if I can scare it up. Oh, Lipanovic wins 4th straight Smoking Wheels title. 4th straight. 4 in a row, right? That's a lot.
That is a big deal.
That's a lot. 4 in a row. Yeah. And he's on an ATV, so I guess he was in the motocross division. Defending champion Sean Lipanovic made it 4 straight titles as he took the let's see. Turn that off. First place in each of the 2 heats, almost a minute faster than the second overall finisher, J.R. Cepeda.
I suppose one of these days I'm going to have to get around to following some of those kind of motorsports. I've never have. It's fun to watch, but
It's fun.
Outside of when my buddies, when Joey Crisostomo was young, and that's how Joey got famous was for being just a great rider out there. Dennis Canonis, other guys that I grew up with, and they're all grandpas now. So and I don't know any of the new guys. I guess I gotta get out and learn a little bit. Yeah, I guess. Go ahead. You're next.
Oh, I was going to say, the last time the Tees and Titans, moving on and moving sports, suffered a loss in the IIAAG Boys Volleyball League was the championship game last year against the Harvest Eagles, which we've talked about here on this very program.
Yep.
Rematch last night. Titans got their rematch, and they clipped the Harvest Eagles' wings.
You getting that? Clip the wings.
Clip the wings. 25-16, sorry. 25-16, the first one. 22-25 and 25-23, the final from the 3-set thriller.
Wow.
Up on the very shiny and the newest, I think, gym floor on Island, which would be the Teton High
Was
Gym.
it new since last year?
2 years ago, I think.
Okay.
2 years ago.
Well, congratulations.
And they're perfect, by the way. 8-0 on top of the standings are the Teton Titans.
Yeah,
so.
we knew it was going to be a rebuilding year for the Eagles. With all the guys that graduated last year. All right, a couple of other things that I think are interesting out there, and I got a note from my buddy Torgan asking me if it might be possible to have a couple of guys come into the studio in the next 3 weeks or something like that, and talk about a big exhibition match that the Guam National Tennis Federation is going to be doing. Do you know who they're bringing out?
No.
Now you're going to love this.
They bring out good folks.
Solid guys. Okay. So Dominic Rabati from Slovakia, currently ranked number 12 in the world.
Very nice.
Is going to be competing against Tommy Haas of Germany.
Yeah. I know
Current
Tommy
ranking
Haas.
number 2 in the world.
Wow.
Number 2 in the world. Think about the guys that, 2's awesome. Who's the number 1 ranked guy in the world now? Is it
Federer?
I think.
Nadal, Federer, one of those two, right?
I don't know.
I assume.
There's one of them who always picks the shorts out of his butt every time he's going to serve. You know which one I'm talking about, right?
Is that Federer? I think it's Federer.
I don't know. It's worth watching. But anyways, the banquet's going to be. Torg sent me the paperwork. It looks like this is going to be taking place. And the golf event with the tennis players is going to be on the 9th. The exhibition match is going to be on the 10th over at the Hilton. So if you want information on this and make sure that you've got the best seat in the house.
It's a nice court over there too.
Yeah, you better find Torgan or Joe on this right now.
If you're ranked number 2 to Rafael Nadal, you're a pretty good player.
That's it. Nadal is the guy I'm thinking of.
Yeah, Nadal is he's ranked number 1 right now.
Right.
He's
I'm
31.
not sure. I'm not sure if he's the one that pulls out the Kakanu, but that's.
I don't know. Maybe that's Djokovic. I like to think that that's Djokovic because I'm not a fan of Djokovic. So.
You know what? All the names are fantastic and a great fun day opportunity. And I've got to do some studying up because I answered yes when he said, "Can they come into the studio?" I said, yeah, it's a good idea. With these guys again, I guess I better do some DJ research and get some splains on who these guys are so I can carry the conversation with everybody else. What else going on in your sports world?
So I got this. This is when real life Ferris Bueller happens. The Cubs took on the Pittsburgh Pirates in this particular game. This happened either last week or the week before. Sometime.
Is this the story you were prepping yesterday?
Yeah, it's happened within the last week or so, 5 days. One young fan did what everybody wants to do, Ray. He skipped out on school and all of his responsibilities, a la Ferris Bueller, to go and enjoy a Cubs game. Sounds like fun, right? Tucker Steckman, he's a 4th grader at Wells Elementary School in East Moline, Illinois. Is that where Roseanne lived? No, they lived in Lansing. They lived in Lansing. Either way, so he skipped and he went to the game. Well, he also made a sign that said, "Skipping school, shh, don't tell Principal Versoulis."
This is not a smart person.
Well, he's in 4th grade.
Okay.
Well, unfortunately for Tucker, his principal, Versoulis, was at the game. And he saw him, and he said when I saw him, quote, he was kind of ducking down. He told the Chicago Sun-Times, "I didn't want him to see me either. I'm here with my son Aiden, who's in 5th grade, and I called out sick for the day." He was actually supposed. Now the principal, this is the principal. He was actually supposed to go to the game on Monday, but it was postponed due to weather. So his superintendent allowed him to take the personal day the day after to go to make right on the game. So he did say, "It doesn't bother me that Tucker skipped school." He said, quote, "He's a great kid. He was a student leader of the year. I thought his sign was hilarious. It's just a shame that the Cubs lost the game 8-5.
Right.
Wait a second. Does that sound like he's encouraging that kind of behavior?
I know.
You get good enough grades. If you're enough of a suck up in school, we'll let you out because you got a cute sign and we made this on the internet.
Yeah,
now it's an internet meme.
Real life
There's
is.
picture evidence. The Cubs tweeted out a whole photo collage on Twitter of him hanging out with his principal.
I don't know. I think somebody needs to go to jail for that one. I think there's got to be some serious detention because now everybody's going to want to get into that same kind of a fold. All right. So those my friends. Some of the bigger deals that we're talking about in the world of sports. There was a story I was looking at to see if I could use it in place of some kind of a kicker, but apparently, and it's got a very loose connection to the world of sports. Is apparently the folks over at NASA were surprised when they saw a meteor the size of a football field. Sports connection,
Got
right
it.
there. Feel
Sports.
it?
Nice.
Sports
Well
connection.
done.
That whizzed by apparently the planet.
Why do scientists like meteorologists and the NASA guys, why do they always use sports like units for measurement?
Because we understand the concept.
An asteroid is the size of a football field. Hail's golf ball size or baseball size or softball size.
Yeah.
Just interesting.
Except when they start talking about Volkswagens and buses.
Yeah.
But I don't want to hear about any meteors the size of Volkswagens and buses whizzing by the planet.
Is it thick?
This is interesting. It's a little bit of a reunion that we can talk about here right now. I noticed on the Facebook Live, I see Tom Bloss has joined us. Tom Bloss and I and Kevin did news and sports 30 years ago in the newsroom at Guam Cable TV.
I don't want to remember.
You don't want to remember? Hey, Tom, it's good to see you up there, and always pleasant memories of those times and pleasant memories of your old man, the old congressman. Nice to see you on the link, and I hope you're enjoying the show. Long distance from wherever it is that you happen to be. I got a Mark Cruz asking about Ray. Man, that's me. I'm that guy. What you need? Happy to talk to you about whatever you want to. 888-8255. Got any other sporty things?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Now, as far as I know, that meteor, the football football field size meteor, has not hit the planet.
It's good though. What's the thickness?
We would have known if it had. Right?
I would assume that it probably the thickness of I don't know. We have to find another sports thing. So it would be the thickness of a wicket. Another sports analogy.
Maybe a club.
Here. Club. What kind of club? Golf club?
No, cricket club.
1 iron.
Or maybe the thickness of like a hockey stick, because that's not very thick.
See, I should look for this.
Or like
football,
I'm guessing it's probably a little thicker than that.
A goalie pad.
Field sized.
By the way, in the meantime,
a concession stand size.
Okay. If you want to pass on scores from IIWG High School girls, I did not see them anywhere from yesterday evening. Sanchez and Indy, Harvest and St. John, and Southern and Guam High. There are two more games, or no, not two more games, a whole nother round of games tonight. And I can get that for you here.
All right.
In just a second.
While you're doing that, I want to make sure. Otherwise, Elaine Kwok will have me by the neck.
Harvest taking on Academy and JFK taking on Ukadu. Both games at 4:30 at GFA and at Ukadu, respectively.
GRC's 49th Annual Ultra 50 Miler and Perimeter Relay 48.6 mile online registration ends today at 6 p.m. Last day registration and captain's meeting will be tomorrow, 6:30, April 18th at the Hyatt Regency. Just start looking around for skinny people through there, and they'll take you through the entire process. If the captain cannot make it, a representative has to be there in his name. Get the registration all taken care of. If you want information, go to guahanrunningclub@gmail.com, and somebody will answer all of your questions about this. I understand that they are looking for volunteers because they asked me. and trust, if they're getting to a point where they're asking me to volunteer, they're desperate.
They need some people.
If you want to help out, if you got service learning things that you got to do, if you're in the military, and you and your squad, you and your platoon want to get out there and meet some of the cream of the local community crop, then this is kind of a must attend. So check out Quacky or visit the Facebook page, Guam Running Club. Got anything else?
Nope, that's it. Good luck to everybody's teams in the NBA playoffs.
No, somebody had asked me about that. You said it was best of 5.
Is it best of 5?
No, they said they said it hasn't been best of 5. They said they heard you say it was best of 5, and they said it was it hadn't been best of 5 since like the 50s.
I don't know that that's true, but I do know that I think I'm trying to think. Here, schedule. I know hockey and baseball, the first couple rounds are best of 5. And then they go to the conference finals, and the finals will be best of 7.
All right,
I will report back on that because it's been much more recent since the 50s that they were going best of 5.
I might have been exaggerating.
Or I could have and I could just still, again, be talking about hockey and baseball and be completely wrong.
Sean reporting it was 2-0, ND over Simon Sanchez.
Oh, okay. Very nice.
So there's your score.
Very nice. And I am seeing Game 4s slated for this. So, yeah, it is. It's just baseball and hockey where it's the first couple rounds are 5 games.
8:27. That's Blake. He takes care of sports. We'll take a break. Headlines with Kevin coming up.
Every time I travel, there's something from home that I can't leave without. I take my Docomo Pacific Data to Go to share my stories in Taiwan, check subway routes in Tokyo, be my food guide in Hong Kong, meet new friends in the Philippines, make updates in the States, find my way around Korea, and check out all the cool shows in Singapore. It's the data I have in all the places I love for only $10 a day. Data to Go from Docomo Pacific. Better together.
It's like everybody didn't want to go all the way through Estumbo and get to Route 3, and they're all trying to get out of Dededo by the flea market. So I get the traffic slowing down through there, and then even once you cross Fatima and then go towards the Route 16, you're going to get some delays through there. Route 16 itself building up towards Marine Corps Drive, just as you're getting closer and closer to the Micronesia Mall. Must be that construction over by Jollibee makes people slow down and salivate. Pakita Quagnan naglalaway every time you walk by. Coming out of Route 16 in Barragata, no problem southbound. Actually, problems northbound on route if you're trying to get towards there. Looks like we've got some slowing down that's happening there. Otherwise, traffic building in all of the usual places except GRMC and Marine Corps Drive. A little bit of a slowdown as you're moving through that intersection, but once you've passed it, you ought to be in the clear. That's what's happening on your roadways. It's Right Now Traffic on the Point.
The stations of Choice Broadcasting are celebrating April 2018 as National Earth Month in the first ever Upcycle Mascot Showdown. We've invited the public elementary 5th grade classes to set the example and build their school mascots completely out of recyclable material. Come down to the Chamorro Village Festival Huts on April 21st from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. for Upcycle-themed games, chances to win prizes from McDonald's of Guam, Pitbull Empire, Pokey Fry, Dickerson and Quinn, and Sylvan Learning Center, an Upcycle costume fashion show, and a special performance from Body Arts Dance Studio. Plus, kids can enjoy rides on the Caterpillar, Power Wheels, and rock wall climbing, courtesy of Pit Shop. Don't forget to stop by the Guam Girl Scouts booth to learn how you can make a cleaner, greener effort in your community. Support your school's mascot and be sure to vote for your favorite. Judges pick the first place winner. The public votes for the second place winner. Celebrate Earth Month with our students in the Upcycle Mascot Showdown. Brought to you by Leo Palace Resort Guam, Dr. Yang Dental, JV International Safety Equipment Company, Nanvo Insurance Underwriters, Denny's of Guam, Jams Media Productions, and The Point.
All right, found the story. This is important. It's there's a stimulating talk that we're trying to do here at the radio station. Let me stimulate you with this. A football-sized asteroid called 2018 G3 buzzed by Earth Sunday and one of the closest encounters the planet has seen in a while. A football-sized? It's Fox News, so I've got a couple of different versions of a headline. Asteroid the size of a football field makes surprise flyby past Earth. And then you get into the body of the story. It says a football size. I think they dropped the field. Anyway, whatever, it was big. At its closest point, the large boulder was just 119,000 miles away from our house, about half the distance between Earth and the moon, according to NASA's Center for Near-Earth Object Studies. The estimated diameter of the space rock ranged from anywhere between 131 to 328 feet. So if you can imagine a football field-sized shape of Guam.
Right.
That's what we're talking about, just spinning through the and trying to make its way here. Nothing compared to asteroids that make up the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter, which can measure to about 580 miles across. NASA says on their website. So this one here was just a small one, just a little diddy asteroid as it was moving through here. They're calling it a surprise flyby because it just kind of popped up and said, "Hey, look at me." They're aware that they're out there, but this one here got a little bit close.
Yeah, it's funny how people think that we're tracking every single thing that's around us when, in fact, there are a lot of those things we just can't see.
Because it's dark.
Something else to worry about.
Yeah, just one more thing to worry about. Well, I hope that we get our tax refunds before an asteroid comes careening into the planet and ruining my day. It's 8:31. Time for headlines from the Guam Daily Post. Here's Kevin Kerrigan.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 33 minutes past 8 a.m. In the headlines from the Guam Daily Post this morning, the Guam Waterworks Authority asking that a portion of property eyed for a future egg farm be reserved for the production of a new water well. Monjita Farms proposing to develop an egg farm and conduct other agricultural activity on the 50-acre public property where the potential water well site has been identified. GWA wants a 300-foot buffer zone created between the farming activity and the water well to protect against the possibility of pesticides and harmful chemicals contaminating the water. Monjita Farms is seeking a decades-long extension to its lease in order to secure financial investment for agricultural activities. Health insurance companies competing for the government of Guam health insurance contract must cover care at both Guam Regional Medical City and Guam Memorial Hospital if the insurance company wants to be considered the exclusive provider for GovGuam. That requirement is stated in the request for proposals issued by the Department of Administration. Of the three health insurance providers that have been bidding for the GovGuam health insurance contract in recent years, only Take Care Insurance has not placed GRMC in its network. Netcare and SelectCare have included the private hospital in the health plans they've been offering to GovGuam employees. If Take Care wants to submit a bid again this year, the RFP requires that, at least in the exclusive provider proposal, it must include GRMC in its network. A student at Simon Sanchez High School injured yesterday after punching several windows and a glass panel at one of the school's main entrance doors. A statement from the Guam Department of Education says the student began bleeding profusely. As a result of the wounds from the shattered glass, school nurses administered first aid and paramedics were called in. The student was taken to GRMC. Not clear what prompted the incident. It remains under review. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
I hope they took him to jail after that. It's 8:34 in the morning. That's iConnect. Time connect longer for less with iConnect's push to talk and mobile plans.
At Micronesia Renewable Energy, values matter. So all of their solar energy systems come with guarantees and the most value. No shortcuts, all quality. It's giving you that solar energy system at the best price. It's using highly efficient solar panels with typhoon-proven racking, built by highly skilled local technicians, so your system performs and saves you money. It's total peace of mind all the time. Not all solar companies are created equal. For experienced quality solar, it's MRE. Call 632-2613. MRE, the smarter choice.
Hey, let's go eat at Wendy's today because they got the thing with the bacon and the mushrooms and Asiago cheese. And did I already say bacon? We say bacon as many times as we want to. In fact, they like it so much they put it in the title of the meal. The smoky mushroom bacon cheeseburger. Smoky sauce, portobello mushrooms, melted Asiago cheese, crispy applewood smoked bacon, and crunchy fried onion tangles atop a juicy, beefy patty for a limited time. And sometimes you go, well, do I want to eat this here or should I take it home? And I will tell you, this is what I know about Wendy's is you want to eat it as close to the stove as possible because that's where you've got some great flavors. I'm just saying it. Yeah. Right there in the restaurant. If I could, I'd eat it in the kitchen with the guys. Maybe one of these days they'll let me do that, right? With a Frosty on the side. Yeah? Some fries. Forget lunch. That's breakfast now. They're open for you at Wendy's, 8:36. Be right back.
How about when we lend you money for your home, we pay for your appraisal? That's right. When we make you a loan, we'll pay for the actual cost of your standard appraisal up to $1,500. Add that to our super low rates, and you'll see why so many people are coming to Bank Pacific for their home loan. So join them by joining us, Bank Pacific, where we're open to closing your loan in a hurry.
Bank Pacific, where others put branches, we place roots.
Equal housing lender, credit conditions apply.
Last quick look at traffic. The problems I had outlined before, looks like most of them have evaporated except whatever's happening over by on 27 Alpha that is coming out of the new what do you call it, the new flea market area. If you're on the road there, it might take you a little bit longer to get through the intersection. Fatima Mobile moving in the other direction, trying to get across that line is also a little bit built up. I wouldn't say it was anything crazy. Coming out of Santos Hill up towards Marine Corps Drive, as usual at this time of day, also a little bit busy and running a little bit slower. A few more cars than normal at 8:36 in front of the Guam International Airport, but that ought to clear up before too much longer. You know what was freaking me out was the traffic yesterday afternoon. Did you see that? I was coming out. I was trying to head towards the Tumon area and come down Route 16, and it took me a long time to get to the to where they're building up the new Jollibee. And I thought, okay, it'll be a breeze getting down into Tumon. And for me, it was. What was surprising was the long line of traffic that you could see down to East Agania.
Wow.
Wondering how people are surviving that kind of thing in the afternoon. I would have gone in the other direction completely. It's 8:38. That's the traffic.
Don't wait another day and waste another dollar. You can start saving today. At Guahan Insurance Services, we are here to help protect your investment and save you money. We offer insurance advising for business, car, and home insurance. So come and visit us at our new office at Camacho Landmark Center at Marine Corps Drive in Timoning, and let us show you that you can count on us for all your insurance needs. Call 475-1162.
This time, let's hear it from the first KFC female colonel.
Smoky Mountain Barbecue, fried chicken so crispy and sweet. That crispy fried chicken. All right, stop, I can't do this. I thought if I dressed up like a country music legend, it would help KFC sell my delicious new Smoky Mountain Barbecue.
KFC, it's finger licking good.
It certainly is an interesting story. As I mentioned when I first saw it a couple of weeks ago, it looks like the RFPs are going out. They're looking at a new way of doing health insurance in this town. We're going to ask all of the vendors to get together and give us your best, mightiest, most economical and beneficial, with no other definitions than that, health insurance plans for the employees and retirees of the government of Guam. Now, it looks like they're going to be looking for an exclusive provider, number one, but they'd also like to see what the non-exclusive agreements might be before we haul in and start the negotiations.
I think the word Brodignagin would work here.
Brodignagin is an interesting term because I think that's what it's going to cost. It doesn't matter what. I think it's going to cost a lot of money. And as I pointed out, and will continue every time I bring up the subject, just a reminder, when we start having the negotiations, I will insist that there is somebody that represents me as a taxpayer, as a non-government of Guam employee and retiree. I think we're asking a lot and have asked a lot of the taxpayers over the years in footing that health insurance bill, and I think it's time for the employees and the retirees, if they can, to carry a little bit more of their weight. We're already tapped out, paying additional taxes, et cetera, et cetera. The interesting wrinkle on that story today is a question that came up about what has to be a part of the plan, and that is provided for in the RFP. And according to Kevin in the story from the Guam Daily Post, at least if you are going to be going in on the exclusive side, you have to include Guam Regional Medical City as part of your network package. So it's Guam Memorial Hospital, GRMC, maybe someplace out in the Philippines, St. Luke's, or GRMC's family business out in Manila, maybe other parts of the network in California, Hawaii, etc. Very interesting conversation. And the question that I got a second ago on the WhatsApp is, I wonder if Take Care is going to take a bite out of it. And the answer is, I don't know. Let's talk to the guys over at Take Care at some point. Eric Plinsky called in made contact with Kevin earlier and told me that the street market that I was talking about in Saipan is actually called just a street market, and said he might call in about GRMC. So thanks, Eric. I appreciate you chiming in this morning.
Good morning, Ray. Thanks for having me.
Not a problem. Not a problem. What's on your mind?
Well, yeah, I heard Kevin talking about the news. I saw the stories and thought maybe they might want to chat a little bit more about this. Of course, GRMC, we're greatly appreciative to the Department of Administration and the GovGuam Health Insurance group negotiating team for realizing the importance of including Guam Regional Medical City in a provider network for any health plan that plans to bid on this RFP.
Well, considering you're a hospital on Guam, that's kind of a no-brainer. You'd kind of make that assumption that it should be you and Guam Memorial Hospital and as many clinics and as many single providers as we can get our hands on. That, I think, is a primary benefit to any health insurance plan. It's not any good if you can't go see the doctor you want to go see.
Well, Ray, it's of particular importance when you talk about a hospital because we have an emergency room, and let's face it, GRMC is located about where 70% of the population of Guam lives, and the ambulances take you to the closest hospital, and actually family and friends or yourself. If you have an emergency, you don't think about what health plan you're in and how you basically try to get to the closest hospital. So when you have an emergency situation and then you're going to get stuck with all the bills, you're having financial hardship right at your most vulnerable moment, and that's why we were so vocal, with the legislature and governor and really just anyone that would listen, trying to educate the community about the risks of choosing a health plan that does not have GRMC in your network.
I understand, and it is up to folks over at Take Care to make a determination as to whether or not that is something that they're willing to do. So it is possible that that this might force new discussions between Take Care and GRMC if they intend on getting the lion's share of a non-exclusive contract or all of an exclusive contract. Is that something that's possible at this point?
We sure hope so. We've always wanted to be in Take Care's network from the day we opened the hospital, and hopefully this will reopen that door. We're looking forward to it. We want to be their partner.
Well, as I said, I mean, their options are either adopt the RFP, the rules as is, or not go after it and decide that they're going to do it based on whatever offers they are going to be making to the community.
Yes, that's right. I mean, we're not sure what their plans are, but they do have thousands of members, I believe, in the GovGuam business. So, hopefully we'll be able to work something out.
We'll see what happens. I'll see if I can find Jeff or one of the other guys over at Take Care and see if I can get a sense of what they intend to do, or if they've made it to that page in the RFP.
Yes, that would be great. I got a quick question for you,
sure.
Ray. Back in the day of our grand opening, you were our host, you were MC, and you somehow miraculously got Governor Calvo and Dr. Bengzone to sing what appeared to be an impromptu karaoke song. Was that really impromptu, or was that
I'm almost positive. It feels like a long time ago. You got to remember, I'm part of the GRMC story going back to when Peter Skro first decided that we wanted to have a conversation about a community hospital, and I was in some of those original planning meetings. I was there for the groundbreaking at GRMC. I was there for the grand opening of Guam Regional Medical City, and I know from personal experience what the inside of your emergency room looks like.
You're part of our DNA, Ray.
I appreciate that. I sure would like to see you, everybody working and playing together for the benefits of the community and for everybody's health care. And so it'll be interesting to me, again, to see what happens with Take Care, whether they decide that they're going to, as I said, adopt what the RFP rules suggest they do, or say, well, you know what, we still don't have an agreement with GRMC. I guess we're just going to walk away.
Well, we hope we can come together on that one too, Ray. We'll be looking forward to it.
It's one of those. You're like you're hailing out on the deck of the ship, saying, "Ahoy, we're over here. Maybe let's sit down and have another conversation." Eric, good luck to you.
Thanks, Ray.
All right, my friend.
Have a good day.
Ray Gibson Show, 846. Yeah, it was there. I did the entire live broadcast with the whole show. It was one of those things where there at 5 o'clock in the morning, got everything set up, and started doing interviews with basically whoever I could get my hands on, because nobody was showing up until 9. That was when all the VIP stuff was happening. So I was interviewing the custodians at 6:20 in the morning. Say, hey, what kind of brooms do you have here? You get these OSHA-approved brooms, right? Yes. But fascinating.
Stripers and everybody.
Well, here's the thing about GRMC that most people, it's kind of transparent because it happens behind the scenes. And there are only a handful of, I'll bet you Eric himself doesn't have access to this, but they've got this massive IT room.
Ah, okay.
And I remember being there on, Dr. Mike Cruz took me and a bunch of other journalist guys walking around. And I remember when we got there and the door opened for a split second, somebody opened it to see what was going on outside because we were making kind of a ruckus. And the door opened and, no, closed. Bang. Shut that door. Nobody's allowed to see inside the racks. That's where all of the data is. That's the kind of system that Guam Memorial Hospital needs, frankly. So I'd like to see that.
Ah, very cool. Hey, got a caller called in.
Oh, good.
Yeah, light in front of Antelope flashing yellow. So if you're seeing something on your traffic gizmo in front of Antelope, that would be what it is.
I am not seeing anything. I'm not looking at anything there, but it normally builds up a little bit in the morning before 8 o'clock. I'm not seeing anything there right now. Just a note and something to look out for. My friend Jim called in yesterday and reminded me that Colonel Lieutenant Governor Eddie Regis had passed away. All flags should be at half staff. Yesterday, the one at the legislature and the museum were not flying at half staff. So double check on all of those Gov Guam flags and make sure that they're paying the appropriate tribute to a guy. I thought he was a fantastic guy and a deep voice lieutenant governor as well. 848. Jack, good morning.
Hey, good morning, man.
How you doing? I'm okay.
If I could work backwards, about the flying of the flags over at the Guam Museum. Yeah, the American flag is kind of tattered, so they need to replace that flag. And I complained a while back about them flying it at night because it's supposed to be well lit, not just shadows from the street lights. So I hope they got those things straightened out. But I did go by the post office this morning. The Guam Museum is at half staff, but the flag is torn. So they need to replace that flag.
Isn't there like somebody like a VFW that will go and say, hey, listen, your flag is in tatters and we don't want you to throw it away and we'll have an appropriate ceremony to dispatch it?
Well, the maintenance, the raising and the lowering, that's all on the museum. So whoever the curator.
No, I mean just what happens when you got a flag, when you got a bunch of flags, where do you take them? You don't want to just throw it in the trash. So I mean, give it.
There's a proper, I should say, burial. There's a proper way to dispose of the flag, but just to let them know it's torn, so that it needs to be replaced, and they can't be flying it at night
unless you light it.
If there's unless it's well lit, and so that's the two things. But and then just to work a little further, I heard you speak about Pete's Grill. I still remember where they were in the cusp of either going into the health. Into the medical and the healthcare, or remember, power plant. They were going to try to build a coal station. How much I regret! I wish they would have gone the power route.
Oh, I remember. No, I remember because in fact, Peter and I are supposed to get together and have a lunch so I can figure out what he's. I know he's doing work with GMH these days. But yeah, those were a couple of ideas. There were a couple of big companies, multinational names that said, "Hey, we've got this coal thing. We've got a coal mine, literally, and we've got lots of coal. And if you want to burn it, then we'll burn it." And so they couldn't get anything like a PPP out of the power company. So they said, "Well, what's to stop us from making our own?"
And just remember that they were it was between investing a lot into the power industry or going to the healthcare, and they decided to go into healthcare.
Well, no, they're separate groups. I mean, there's it's the same guys, but I mean, it was a separate set of fellows that we were talking about. I remember Jesse Lujan had also they'd called an oversight hearing and conversation about potential legislation, and I remember the guys over at GPA were so freaked out about it. They brought in experts from the mainland to tell us how dirty coal is. I'm going, well, yeah, duh.
Yeah.
But if we can do it for cheap, if we can get the electric rates down.
Yeah, and stable. That was the key term there. So and then to work a little bit further back, I heard about the health insurance. The big fight 20 years ago was IPOs versus HMOs. And the pros and cons between those two, which is a health maintenance organization and individual providers organization. And so here we are 20 years later, and we're still bumping heads against the same problem. But what's supposed to protect us as taxpayers and also for government employees is they're supposed to have an actuator there that's supposed to do the math and supposed to discern what's best. And so they do have actuators there, but we've been on the short end of the stick decade after decade.
No. Who are you referring to when you say we? Here's the thing, because they can dream up whatever kind of plans that they want to, and include any kind of coverage that they want to, whatever insurance lines or health insurance lines that they want to toss in there. Heck, even let's add dog insurance, dog and cat protection into these plans. They can dream up all of these plans, but when it comes to paying for it, you go to the employees and the retirees, and they get the first rights of refusal and say, no, that's too expensive, but we still want it. So what they do is they say it's too expensive, we still want it, and let's have the government of Guam pay more. The government of Guam share will be higher. There is no government of Guam. It's the taxpayers of Guam. So I'm the one that will hope against hope, fingers crossed, etc., that this time there's a taxpayer advocate with a vote at the table that says that's too much for us.
Yeah, but I also think the Guam employees are getting shortchanged. Because they're giving gold-plated status, but really when you go in, it's like those mileage clubs or those loyalty point clubs that you belong to. Yeah, it looks like a lot, but when it boils down to it, it's barely. When it comes to, if it wasn't for catastrophic insurance, I don't know where a lot of these people would be. But I think we've taken a hit on that, the retirees, the employees, the taxpayers, more importantly, the taxpayers, because we see the difference between what is being covered in the private sector and the public sector. So, yeah, the actuary is supposed to be supposed to be there to safeguard our interests also as taxpayers. But unfortunately, that's not how the ball has bounced these past couple of decades, and I don't know how to address that issue. That's way beyond my scope. But I also wanted to call in because I wanted to ring in on this sales tax thing, especially the visible sales tax.
Go.
As a consumer, it doesn't do anything for me, because anybody that lived in a sales tax state knows that what is advertised is the price, and below it says sales tax not included.
Right. So
if you want to joke around, if you want to kid people saying that, sales tax shows the true price of an item, it doesn't, because they don't add that until you come to the POS, the point of sale. So everything that's being advertised, every time you go in to do the math, guess what? They're telling you need to do a little algebra. And it's bad enough. I come in, I'm paying $1.99, knowing true well this thing is 89 cents, but they're psychologically psyching me out. Hey, I'm not paying $2, I'm paying $1.99. So it's I don't know who's kidding who on this thing, and it's just really pissing me off, because ever since January, the only thing that has gone down is the price of empanada. Empanada used to run $1.99. Now it's $1.29.
Yeah, but can I just say, Jack, let me get this out, because I like you am a true empanada fan, and what I'm getting a whole lot of these days is I'm getting the crispy outside and there's not a lot inside. I like a fat empanada. I want to be able to bite the thing and have it ooze out the side of my mouth, and a lot of times I'm biting into air.
Yeah, but it has gone down. That price of air that you're paying for, has gone down to
Yeah, no, I get it. Somebody feels bad about it. Somebody is at least a little bit embarrassed, and they're not charging the full rate for it. I'm just saying the quality of the implement. You know what I had last week? Somebody gave me a shoe pal from Jones and Joanne's right up in Gigo, and I bit into this thing, and it was I took a healthy man-sized bite, and it got me in my heart. I have feels about this, right? Because when I bit into it, it was mostly insides, not mostly bread. It was mostly the insides and not mostly, dumpling with a little chunk of meat and a little bit of sauce on the inside. This was worth driving up to Gigo for. And I'll pay whatever for that. But don't tick me off. Sometimes I go to places and you get the shoe pow and you open it up and, 60, 70 for 80% of it is all bread. And you get this little tiny chunk of whatever kind of meat it is. And they're calling it delicious and nutritious. Give me a break. We see what's going on.
Yeah, but not only that, but most of the comfort foods, so like lumpia, they're getting smaller, right? Or they cut it down to 3 pieces. Remember when you went to you ever been to Tohong's, the old Tohong's? You ordered the fried chicken. They used to, back in 2000, 5 pieces. Then they cut it down to 3 pieces. Now Tohong's no longer there, but the rest of the it's like all crispy skin, and those little drumlets?
Yeah.
They count that as a chicken piece.
So
they give you 3 pieces of drumlets.
I'm not going to say where they are. Okay, I'm going to say there's a restaurant in town and they make a meatball lasagna, right? And the picture in the menu is the lasagna boat and what looks like 2 big fat baseball sized meatballs, right? And then they deliver it to the table and you dig into one of the meatballs and they cut it in half. It's actually 1 meatball cut in half. I won't eat there again. Simply because of that.
Yeah, here's another thing. A creature of comfort, just like you, we have our tendencies to buy the same thing over and over.
Mm-hmm.
So, you remember when you last bought a dozen donuts? Remember how they barely fit in the box? Now you get a dozen donuts, you got a lot of room.
You got room, yeah. You got room for the pint of chocolate milk. What's that, Mike?
Maybe it's a bigger box.
No, they're not a bigger box. They're smaller donuts.
Just playing devil's advocate here, man.
No. It's just here's the bottom line on this is the consumers are going to get screwed no matter what happens here. Yeah. And I'm with you. You start looking around and you get these incremental price increases and these price hacks. And there's people on a fixed income, and I'm wondering how they're able to make it. And I think the answer is they're not actually able to make it. And so we're running around, still living like the Kardashians around here. And that's a point that Mike St. Nicholas made this morning, and I've been saying is, wait a second, where's that fiscal crisis? Where are all of these cost reductions that we're supposed to be looking out for? They're still hiring employees, and they're not going to be doing the furlough and taking their time, getting to the amnesty for whatever that's going to be worth. So I'm just saying, I thought we were in a crisis and we were supposed to start backing off and trying to live within our means. I'm just not feeling it yet,
Yeah, there's no push towards downsizing. You're right. And here's what I would like to end on. I just got back from the mainland. My son had open house, and I went to the McDonald's on the East Coast, and the price is the same as it is here. So, hats off whatever McDonald's is doing.
Jones, wow, how do they get out from under the Jones Act?
That's just it. Well, and they close at 9.
Wow. Hey, I got to run because the news. Jack, I'll talk to you pretty soon, my friend. The radio station is Kilo Uniform Sugar Golf. Sorry, I do that because I'm a ham guy. KUSG, Hagutnya, and time now for Fox News, which we do live.
No ruling, but a revelation. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. President Trump's personal attorney appears in court a week after his home and office were raided by the FBI.
Michael Cohen left federal court today after being ordered last week by Judge Kimball Wood to show up and reveal how many clients he has and who they are. Cohen's attorneys turned over 2 of the 3 names this morning: President Trump, GOP fundraiser Elliot Broidy, and a third who asked not to be named. The judge told Cohen's attorney they could not keep it secret and forced their hand in court to reveal the name: Sean Hannity.
Fox's Laura Ingle.
The Fox News host responded live on his radio show earlier today.
Michael never represented me in any matter. I never retained him in the traditional sense as retaining a lawyer. I never received an invoice from Michael. I never paid legal fees to Michael. But I have occasionally had brief discussions with him about legal questions about which I wanted his input and perspective.
And the judge denied Cohen's motion for a temporary restraining order to keep investigators from going through the seized documents, saying the matter is moot because the government has agreed not to access the documents for now.
The raid focused on Cohen's business dealings, including allegations by an adult film star that he paid her to keep quiet about an affair with President Trump over a decade ago. One person dead in North Carolina after a tornado roared through the state yesterday.
They went in their homes and many of them were terrified for about 30 minutes or so as this tornado occurred. So it jumps on you quickly.
Governor Roy Cooper, the National Weather Service says the twister passed through Greensboro, leaving thousands without power. Multiple reports that actor Harry Anderson, who played the judge on the 1980s and 90s sitcom Night Court, has died. He was 65. Fox News, fair and balanced.
GTA's best internet deal has arrived. With fiber internet, you get up to 50 megabits of data per second for only $50 per month. And if that's not enough, Fiber Internet 50 plan includes free Wi-Fi. But this offer will only last through the month of April. So sign up today and get ready for faster downloads, more streaming, a better gaming experience, and a stable connection across multiple devices. Conditions may apply. Visit gta.net for more details. GTA, your island, your network.
Hafa-day, my name is James Moylan, and I'm running for a seat as your senator. The people of Guam expect more from their leaders, and I intend on delivering. If given the opportunity, I will bring my experiences in the military, public, and private sectors. I understand that during challenging times, tough decisions and an open mind are needed. Your tax dollars also need to be spent wisely. If you expect more from your elected officials and expect them to think outside of the box, then I humbly ask for your support this November. Thank you.
Paid for by the committee to elect James Camacho Moylan for Senator, Carlos Camacho, Treasurer.
A Los Angeles man pleads guilty to threatening a congresswoman.
45-year-old Anthony Lloyd from San Pedro faces 10 years in prison. He pleaded guilty to threatening to kill Democratic Congresswoman Maxine Waters. He called her office and left a message that used the words dead and kill a total of 4 times. He admitted he was upset after listening to talk radio and hearing about comments she made against President Trump. In the message, Lloyd also used a racial slur to refer to Waters. He told the FBI he wasn't actually planning to harm the Congresswoman. In a statement after the threat was made, Waters issued a statement saying her district is very diverse, and while they don't always agree, her constituents would never threaten her. Jessica Rosenthal, Fox News.
At the Bill Cosby sexual assault retrial, the mother of accuser Andrea Constant told the jury Cosby told her in detail about the encounter he had with her daughter, then apologized for it. Arguments continue in court over the proposed AT&T Time Warner merger.
Today's witness in the government's case to block the AT&T Time Warner merger, an economist who says the merged company would not block content from potential rivals. He specifically talked about baseball contracts with Turner, saying that there would not be blackouts if no agreement could be reached to distribute the games. He's a UC Berkeley economics professor and compared the agreements to the NBC Universal agreements, where the merger had almost, he says, no effect on prices or distribution issues. Now, this could be a big week ahead. Both CEOs from AT&T and Time Warner will testify on the stand. In Washington, Edward Lawrence, Fox News.
New research suggests many more lung cancer patients may benefit from treatments that boost the immune system. One study found using one of these drugs, Merck's Keytruda, which with chemotherapy greatly improves survival for people newly diagnosed with the most common type of cancer that spread beyond the lungs. Lisa Lacera, Fox News Radio.
Stop by any Circle K today and overload your For Real. It's simple. Pick out your favorite For Real shake, blend it, and then mix and match any 2 toppings for only $1. Overload your For Real with a variety of sweet treats like Oreo cookies, gummy bears, classic M&Ms or peanut M&Ms, and Reese's peanut butter cups. Simply add them to your For Real shake for an overload experience and enjoy. For Real Overload, only available at participating Circle Ks. Circle K. Take it easy.
Portions of the program here brought to you by my friends over at King's Restaurant. For over 40 years, serving Guam favorites to families just like yours. Always open, always local. That's King's.
With the largest inventory of rental equipment on Guam, East West Rental Center is sure to have the tool you need to get your job finished quickly. From equipment rental, party rental, parts and service to used equipment, East West Rental Center has what you need. Call East West Rental Center at 646-1463 or visit them online and browse through their online rental catalog at eastwestrental.com. They're located in Upper Tumon, right across St. John's School. East West Rental Center, providing the island of Guam with quality equipment rentals since 1972.
Yeah, buddy. Time for a Cold Stone break. To trying the new strawberry shortcake and fresh lemon pie ice cream there. Now, you can have them together or you can have them separately, but mix in all your favorite nuts and fruits and candies, or even the new golden Oreo cookies. Very rare golden Oreo cookies. People don't realize the lengths that they go to get these golden Oreo cookies. These golden Oreo cookies made with ingredients that are only found in Kapinga Meringue. And so you have to go down there and negotiate with the king of the Kapinga Merengianesians in order to get the dough to make the golden Oreo cookies. They're that rare. They're that tasty. Find it today at Cold Stone at Guam Premium Outlets and Micronesia Mall.
Are you waiting too long for a home loan decision? Are you looking for a bank that understands your needs and can close your loan quickly at today's super low rates? Then come no further than Bank Pacific. Our home loan specialists are friends and neighbors from your community, and our decisions are made right here in Hagåtña. Bank Pacific, where we're open to closing your loan in a hurry.
Bank Pacific, where others put branches, we place roots.
Equal housing lender, credit conditions apply. Viva Bank Pacific.
Hey, it's your stomach again. Subway has all new signature wraps, and around the water cooler, the other stomachs can't stop talking about them. Chipotle Southwest steak and cheese, turkey, bacon, and guac, rotisserie-style chicken Caesar signature wraps. Listen, if I'm honest, as a talking stomach, I don't have a lot of life experience. But I do know one thing. These signature wraps are jam-packed with meat. So what are you waiting for? I'm growling over here. Subway, make it what you want.
In illness and in wellness, Calvo's Select Care is health care that is there for you. That's why over 80% of the Guam medical community places their trust and insures with us. We offer our members wellness and fitness programs for a healthier lifestyle and provide a comprehensive medical network on and off island to help members from unexpected illnesses. Contact Calvo's Select Care today for more information.
Relax, enjoy, and be greeted by the spectacular view of Hagåtña Bay when you visit the point at the Sheraton Laguna Guam. Gaze into the beautiful sunset as you unwind to the music of Philip Garcia and Natasha on Wednesdays, Mama Shar and Nina on Thursdays, Philip Garcia and Luis Muña on Fridays, and Jack Larimer on Saturdays. Open daily from 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. Happy hour from 5 to 8 p.m. with all cocktail drinks for $7. Receive a discount when you present your SPG card. Call Peter Yaban at 646-2222 for reservations at the point at the Sheraton Laguna Guam Resort.
The Coconut Wireless is back. Watch and listen live on thepoint.gu.
Coconut Wireless told me there's going to be barbecuing again across GCIC. I don't know who's barbecuing there, but I don't think it's going to rain, so I think I might put some short pants on and a tank top and go and hang out and see if I can get my hands on some of that barbecue. These hot dogs and cheeseburgers. That's what I like to refer to as the Howley barbecue, as opposed to the way I like to do it. Where's the ribs? Where's the beef on me? Put some fish on that thing, and let's get a real barbecue going. 9 after 9, Ray Gibson Show on The Point, and as we like to do on Tuesdays or so, is bring in my friends from Community First Federal Credit Union, talk about some of the great lines that they have there. For a lot of people, banking means just some place to put my savings, and for other people, some place to put the checkings, but there's so much more. Even when you get into the loan stuff, I mean, there's so many different ways that you can do that for folks that just need some money in their pocket, or they want to use the money to buy a house, or they want to use the money to make an investment into a business, or an investment period. So sometimes you are able to get some customers that are of a level of fiscal maturity, if you will, where they start looking around and saying, I've got the house because you guys gave me the mortgage a couple of weeks ago, but I noticed that there's a guy that has an apartment that he wants to turn condo. down over there. And so maybe I can go and get myself into a vertical regime and use this as an investment. And I'll make money off the condo. I'll rent that out to sailors for $2,400 a month. And then I'll use that, and that will pay for the mortgage, the first mortgage that I have on the house. You hear that all the time, right?
Oh, everybody wants to be a landlord in Guam.
No, you're crazy. Nobody wants to. No, never. If anybody tries to talk you into it, just walk away. But if you do get suckered into it, because I can tell you, I've been a landlord. It's the least favorite thing that I've ever done in my life is be a landlord, because I'm the absolute worst at it. I had a bunch of girls that were living in a condo that I have, and they gave me a sob story about, it's Thanksgiving and we got Christmas coming up, and I'll be the kids, and so here okay, Uncle Ray says you can take $100 off the rent and get something nice for the kids, because it's like that. So once that happened, then the wife took over the management of the guys. So you're not in this business anymore. We're going to let you do something else. But anyway, so there's something to be said about, if you're the right kind of person, sometimes being a landlord can be good for you. And in that case, it's not a bad idea to start looking around for investment properties. When you find one that you want, what's the next step?
Well, you come down to the Twinney branch and apply. We offer terms for non-owner occupied transactions at 20% down. Our terms would be 15 years. Rates are still competitive and still low for the environment that we're in today. So you would come down and we can go over some numbers, see how the payments work for you, and you can decide if you want to move forward with the purchase.
All right, so both residential, that's Frank Sharfris' voice, and Maria Kanishi is in the studio as well. So 20% down at 15 years. A standard house mortgage is going to end up running about 30 years, right?
On a primary investment,
On a primary investment. So that's the deal. Is that just the way it is, or
yes,
is that
on an investment property, the max term is only 15 years.
Okay, so that's as far as you can
Correct.
go. Is that refinanceable over
Yes.
time? Okay, so
Yes.
you can make a couple of big dents in the interest up front, and then go back and do some refi. Is there a tax benefit to being able to do that?
Well, I know that it is something that you can include it, itemize on your taxes.
So I've got the mortgage interest from the house, and then I can include that on the taxes as part of the itemization.
Yes.
But because of the investment or the nature of the investment, I should be able to itemize those tax payments on the mortgages as well.
Yes,
I
understand.
You understand what I'm saying? Yeah.
Yes. Mhm.
So okay, so there's another upside to this, is that you would be able to make that claim against your taxes based on the investment nature of the mortgage.
Correct. And on
Okay.
the total interest,
Right.
yeah.
Okay. Now, there's always a couple of things that run around in my head, and sometimes I want to talk to real estate experts about it. But you got the thing, and you're making the payments on the investment property, but there's nobody living in it. Still got to pay, right?
Yes, you do.
All right, I was hoping maybe Community First was going to be doing something different. If you don't have anybody in the place, don't worry about paying us. You can pay us when somebody's in there and do all of the other stuff. But I think there's some deductions that you can make on that. Some other credits that you can get on your taxes for a property that you might have for an investment that nobody is in right now. I forget what it's called, but trust me, the tax people know what I'm talking about, because I've asked them that very question before. See, I told you I was a lousy landlord.
There's like on your insurance policy, when you acquire that property, there's like a rent loss clause endorsement,
right?
That could probably reimburse you for unoccupied rental properties,
which is cool. So ask about that when you're doing it. But the other part of this is that I'm trying to figure out how to formulate the question with the different thoughts that are rolling into my head about what is different about doing this besides the term of between an investment property and a regular residential mortgage, because I know that there are more than one or two things that you just have to be aware of when you move through this process.
Well, maybe what you're going at is, let's say you do own a rental property,
right,
and you've paid the balance down, and if you wanted to tap into the equity position on that, you wouldn't pay any taxes on that cash out scenario.
Well, that is an interesting wrinkle. Not
Yeah.
quite what I was going for. And I suppose it had to do with when I buy a house and I'm going to use it for my primary property, there are inspections, there are requirements for I don't know, it's got to have a roof, and it's got to have a floor, and it's got to have typhoon shutters, things like that on the windows. Is there the same process that you go through on investment properties?
It is. It is the same process on an investment property. It's just, this one is non-owner occupied. as compared to the primary, you live in there, right? But
right.
There's not much difference on an investment and a prime.
So the process is largely the same.
Yes.
When we start talking about doing this, okay,
Correct.
but again, it might be part of a business plan, and so can it be considered a business plan? Can you put this together in your head and come to Community First and say, all right, I'd like to be a business. Ray Gibson Industries. It's Ray Gibson Slum Industries. I think I've already got that name chosen. Ray Gibson Slum Industries. And as part of this business loan, I need some capital to buy the investment property. That's different from what we're talking about, right?
Correct. Yeah, you'd be on the business side of it with Peter Valdez
Right.
Group.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And you can acquire properties that way as investment purposes,
Mm-hmm.
where they'll treat, let's say, letter of intent to rent. They'll use it as cash flow or for qualifying purposes.
Mm-hmm.
But on our side of the business, if you decide to buy a rental property, you have to qualify for the house payment that you're walking into right now.
Right. Rather as opposed to being like a business.
Correct.
Even though you're going to be using it as a
Correct.
business.
Yeah.
Now, is there? What are the possibilities? And life changes and things come at you real fast, and so you say, okay, I've got this house, and I'm living in this house. It's my primary residence. I am occupying this house. Something happens down the road. You decide, okay, I don't really want to live here. I like that house over there because it's got a swimming pool and maid's quarters and all of that. So I want to move into that house. Can I convert one to an investment property? Can I take the house that I'm living in and convert that into an investment property and then say that's going to be my primary residence now?
Yes.
Yes, you can.
Okay.
Yes.
Is it as simple as that? Just going to
Yes.
the bank and saying, would I need to refinance the loan?
No.
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 Really?
You would
Yeah.
have to change the coverage on the homeowner's insurance.
That's it?
Yep. Let them know that you're not going to be occupying, and I believe there's a rental clause or endorsement you have to purchase.
Sure.
And you can move out of that house and buy another property.
Is there? Do you have to wait a period of time?
Nope.
Because I know that, like with some government programs, that you can live in this house; it's your primary residence, and this is where you're going to be staying. And then, but you cannot turn it into an investment opportunity until like 5 years.
No, it's an unforeseen circumstance that came about where you said, "Oh, I don't, I've outlived this home. Now I want to get a bigger home, so therefore that's why I'm going to purchase the other home as my primary investment."
Interesting.
And on this home that you have, it's a non-owner occupied. There's no restrictions with regards to having to refinance on this current property. It's up to you. Now you have another property that's non-owner occupied, and you want to make some money out of it because it's just going to sit there.
Right. And so there are no restrictions whatsoever. So you just go ahead and push through the process and a little bit of the paperwork and a couple of phone calls to the insurance company, and you're going to be good to go. Many people would say, okay, well, maybe one of the things that I ought to do is sell one of these pieces of property. So as long as your credit is good and you can make the payments on both units at the same
Yes,
time,
yes.
we're in good shape.
Yes,
Okay.
correct.
So as you said, 20% down is what you're asking for. What are some of the other qualifications?
20% down on a purchase transaction. Now, because you own it already, the financing, if you wanted to refinance it, we can go and you're going to take some money out of it. We can go up to 75.
I'd like to take out some
There you
equity
go.
so I can, paint the new place
Yes.
or pay for the movers or whatever it is that I want to do.
Yes.
I want all Kohler.
Yeah.
Right?
So once again, on that one,
want Japanese toilets.
on that one, that's considered a cash out transaction. So therefore, the max financing on that is 75%.
That's
80%.
all right.
Yeah.
That's all right because you presume that the value on something is going to be going up, so that 70% might be higher than your original 80%.
Correct.
Yeah, so I could see how all of this will work out in your head. So there's no requirement that you sell your old property. In fact, it makes more sense to turn that into an investment property,
Yes.
refinance it over 15 years at whatever the 75% is going to be,
Right.
and then like I said, you call the guys over at the military and the housing over there and say, hey, I've got this place. It's got internet, it's got cold water, it's got hot water, gas stove,
There you
Kohler
go.
everywhere, and Japanese toilets. And I'll be happy to send somebody over and send you a check, literally a check for $2,400 every single month. And you can use that to cover the mortgage on your new bigger property that you got at 30-year terms.
Yes.
And 80%. It all works out. Listen, if we can put this together and have this conversation in like 10 minutes on the radio, imagine what you can do when you sit down for an hour with the loan originators at Community First. One of them is Frank Charfris. Santos. The other one is Marie Kanishi. Mike could not make it today, but Derek is here to give you details on how you can get a hold of everybody over at Community First. And are we ready to talk about the new website yet, or is that's
Not yet.
not yet? Okay. Well, how do we get a hold of everybody now?
You can call them at 472-8210 or go to our website, www.communityfirstfcu.com.
All right, and did you hear the good news out of they got Boston? Bunch of runners from Guam, Aisha Lynn Perez and Pat Silverio, and there was one other guy, and I think everybody came in under 3.5 or something like that.
Charlie
I
Epperson,
didn't see Charlie's numbers.
He ran 238 and it's like 101.
What? He ran 238?
Yeah, and then Cam finished at 314.
Wow. How come he didn't run it? You know, I know why, because he doesn't like long distances. And you ran the 5K over the weekend at the Banks thing?
Yep.
Yeah. Did you cash the check yet?
No, I have to go pick it up later.
Dude, you gotta cover the beer debts for me and your brother. So grab some money, get some money in there,
you got
do
a
it
check.
to it. Yeah, are you kidding? No, he's fast. And we started. I thought I had a good time. I was 26:20. This guy was already toweling off and changing his clothes before he even got to the turnaround. He's a lightning McCool here.
How long a run was it?
Huh?
How long?
Oh, it's 5K.
5K?
It's 5K. But this guy can do a 5K in like no time, right? You and Ryan?
Yeah, it was 16:30.
Yeah. Who's the other guy? Tom? Ted is the new guy, right?
Ted is the new guy.
Yeah, he is the new contender for the cash purses that these guys race against. Hey, listen, you want to know more about your finances? Something as simple as a savings account or a checking account, or something as complex as getting an investment property in and under your belt. These are the guys to talk to. They do it every single day at Community First. I'll be right back.
Security Title is honored to join in sponsoring Ray Gibson on The Point. I'm Kim Anderson of Chalampago, and this is where I start my day, listening to the voices of our community and sharing thoughts about issues that affect all of us. It all boils down to our people and our land. Protehi Itanotmo, protect your land. When it comes to your family land, remember to call the professionals at Security Title, just like you call Ray Gibson in the morning.
Chili's lunch combos for just $10. Start your lunch with your choice of a Bud Light, iced tea, or Coca-Cola. Plus, free bottomless chips with salsa. Then choose a variety of fresh entree options like our savory beef enchiladas, quesadilla explosion salad, or our Cajun chicken pasta. Experience fresh flavors in every bite with Chili's lunch combos for just $10. Available Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. At Chili's, fresh is happening now.
The Extra Point with Jerry Roberts of Guam Training every morning on The Ray Gibson Show.
Has anyone ever treated you in a mean or cruel fashion at work? I'm Jerry Roberts, and at 7:20 a.m. on The Ray Gibson Show, we chew on the unsavory topic of workplace hate.
You can find daily transcripts of The Extra Point by Jerry Roberts at guamtraining.com. Tune in every weekday morning at 7:20 for The Extra Point with Jerry Roberts on The Ray Gibson Show on 93.3 The Point.
See anything happening over by the governor's office. Don't see anything happening really anywhere. I think most of the traffic has managed to calm itself down. Might be a little bit just as you're getting into or coming out of Route 27 over across from Ben and Yan's, that intersection there as it rolls up towards the Micronesia Mall intersection at that place. 9:24 in the morning, and still bunches and bunches of stuff, oodles of stuff to talk about. The question I didn't have time to get to when I was talking with Senator Mike Nicholas earlier today. We were talking about his thoughts on, and you can see it in the. Do I have it in front of me? Yeah. In the front page of today's Daily Post, austerity measures rapidly unwind. Says the administration was not straightforward with him, not straightforward with the folks over at the legislature, talking about how the sky is falling. Oh, it's bad everywhere. My goodness. Well, we're gonna have to do furloughs, payless paydays. Get everybody's knots in a knicker. We got to close the fire stations. We got to close the police station. We got to take cops off the streets. And there were a bunch of people that were agitated by the whole thing. I recognized Kabuki when I see it, and thought, okay, well, these are just means to an end. And the end was an increase in the business privilege tax and the promise of a visible sales tax down the road. Not a conversion. It will be on top of the 4% after that sunsets in October. So lucky for us, we'll be looking at 6% in taxes. And he's doing what he can to eliminate that particular tax, period. And just keep things at 4% because he's like me. I look at this and I'm okay. I got job. I got enough money in my pocket at the end of the pay period to buy a couple of beers that will tide me over to the beginning of the new one. So I'm all right. But not everybody is swimming in the same waters as me. And I know people that have had a hard time. Worse, I know people that have had a good time. And that ride might be changing for them. And all of a sudden, you start looking at the cost of electricity and the cost of gas and the cost of water and the cost of groceries, and everything is going up. And you wonder where it is going to end. And I don't know. We'll just have to brace ourselves and hope for the best. So I didn't get a chance to ask him whether or not he was going to give Ed Byrne, the new guy over at the Department of Administration, credit for the $10 million in tax refunds that are going out right now. It's actually in the mail. They got the checks are printed. The governor signed every single one of them until his hands started cramping, and then Ray signed the rest of them. And they're out in the market now in envelopes. So go by the post office because there could be something extra for you when you get in there. And so I'm wondering, because he told Byrne he wasn't going to move forward with the nomination until we got $25 million. I think he's holding on to that. I don't think Ed's got the credit on the $10 million. So it will also be interesting to see over the next couple of days as the dollars and cents come into the Department of Revenue and Taxation, whether or not there's going to be some additional revenue to support the next round of tax refunds that have to come in. And on top of that, there is all of the money that everybody owes in the government of Guam for BPT debts, and we build schools and we build dumps. Wow, speaking of the dump, this is going to be interesting. At the legislature today, do I have it? At the legislature today, there it is. Supposed to be in a half hour, the Committee on Housing, Utilities, Public Safety, Homeland Security will convene a public hearing. And they're going to be talking about the Guam Solid Waste Authority Board of Directors' proposed new rules regarding the agency's solid waste management and operations. Now, it was just the other day that we heard from Fran Tadenko Gatewood, the lady at the court who is driving case number 02-00022. And we've lived with that civil case number for at least a decade. And she expressed concerns. She didn't say she had concerns. She says the court has concerns about how ready the new management team will be to take over GSWA's operations by June 30th of 2018. January, February, March, April, May, June. That's 60 days. 60 days from the end of the month. Are they going to be ready for it? And the reason why she's curious about this is because the board put together a status report and sent it over to the court. And it is listed as Exhibit 1 for those of you on the website that are wondering to download it. And so they go over in this report personnel classifications, operational rules and regulations, the operations of GSWA, budget and finances, and the Luzon landfill cell development closure. On virtually every single page that was submitted in this report by GSWA, Guam side, to the United States of America, court side, it was reviewed by the solid waste receiver. And on virtually every single page, there is a comment and or correction by the receivers. And it's some of it might be clerical in nature. Oh, I'll give you, for instance, they talk about management met with both the receiver and Pacific Human Resources Services on multiple occasions to discuss implementing the plan already developed by the receiver. And the receiver's comments coming back as, we have no such plan and never attempted to develop one. Classification and compensation is a requirement of the government of Guam, not the receiver. We simply agreed to support its development and make PHR available to work on it through our existing contract with PHR. but it's not our plan. You got to do that. And lady over at the court says, that's a big enough deal here. It's got my attention. Operational rules and regulations. In accordance with the provisions of 10 GCA and pursuant to the Administrative Adjudication Act, Guam Solid Waste Authority Board of Directors proposes the promulgation of the attached rules regarding GSWA's operations in solid waste management. And this happens to me all the time, right? Where I'll send somebody a thing and it says, see document attached, and then forget to attach the document. It's exactly what they did here. See the attached rules. And receiver's comments are, there's no rules attached. No! Bother. And then there's questions about some of the numbers that they're using. The numbers are not correct. This is repeated in multiple places. The number is wrong. The number is not correct. This is very unclear. Wording appears to be missing. The numbers for this are wrong. The numbers for that are right, but don't jive with the tables they're enclosed. And I think the lady at the court just looked at it and said, if this is going to be the nature of the quality of the reporting that comes out of GSWA, we're talking about real dollars and cents here. And if they get it wrong, then I got a feeling that among the first things that we are going to see is the call that, golly, I don't know how the receiver was able to do it. Maybe they did it with the blessing of the court. Maybe they did it with money that we borrowed 100 times, 100 years ago at crazy interest rates. And that's how they were able to do it. But golly, we're the poor government of Guam. We don't know how this works. And so in order to continue to have trash trucks out there picking up people's trash, we're going to have to do this at $45 a household instead of $30. Mark my words, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. So I hope she continues to be a stickler for that. Current time at the radio station, it's 9:32 in the morning. You may reach me at 888-8255. That'll be all right. And I don't have one in here, but I'm threatening to get one because they work great. 9:33 is also iConnect time. Connect for longer, for less with their mobile and push-to-talk plans.
Yes, money is something we should talk about and plan for and use to make life better. It's how we make our giant leap from where we are to where we want to be. So let's talk together and work together to check off shiny new kitchens, fully nested dorm rooms, and bucket lists with more countries than our passports can hold. Let's check them all off together. First Hawaiian Bank. It all starts with yes. Member FDIC.
As we journey through the new year, we here at APL continue to find ways to better deliver our island's resources with innovative and cost-effective solutions, lending our helping hands by carrying your freight safely from the U.S. mainland or anywhere in our global network. We humbly honor the opportunities to continue to work and connect with you and your business. We are APL, and we are here for you. Kiddo, good to see you there. Who else is on? I got JoJo. There's Sonny Cruz bragging a new police headquarters being built in my village of Afami, Sinanya. Congratulations, Sonny. You will be safe like you're in God's pocket until there is cause for somebody to say, hey, government's broke, so we're going to shut down the headquarters up there. Melanie Mendiola from the University of Guam. Glad to see you on Facebook Live this morning. Ken Leon Guerrero, my classmate, Anita Muffness. Nice to see you last week. Tim Rohr is on. Tim Rohr was actually on this morning. He's the first guy we talked to today. Somebody did him the favor or cursed him with picking up a packet in his name over at the Guam Election Commission. Today is the first day that you can start turning them in. If you've already picked up a packet and you got your all your paperwork together and want to get that in so that your name can be on the ballot, you can go ahead and do that now. Otherwise, you've got until June 26th. You got until June 26th to be able to sort out the magic and get all the signatures and all of that. And by then, and it like I said, feels so far away, it's June. It's June. I want the election year to last forever, don't you? Man, that's when we get the best Christmas presents from the government, man, is when it's an election year. And everybody wants to find a way to tickle all of the voters and say, look at me, I'm working for you. So but we have to wait. So all of the build-up work will happen between now and June 26th. And then June 26th, that's it. That's the cutoff date. Then it's going to be for real. Then it's going to be, okay, gung-ho Marines, let's do this election. And it'll be fun. It'll be fun. The senatorial side will be fun. So far, we only got one guy running for the committee on the utilities. There are 3 seats up for grabs. And I urge you, for the sake of change, for the sake of getting a new name, a new face, new thinking maybe into the Consolidated Commission on Utilities, maybe you ought to go in there and put your name in the ring. Like I said, there's only one guy so far, Simon Sanchez, still pondering the idea of whether he is running. I've had private communications with Francis Santos. And so I know it's on his mind, and we haven't been able to hook up with George Bamba to find out what his intentions are on the Consolidated Commission on Utilities. But I will say this, George, I'd like you to stay. I know that you haven't been there as long as some of the other guys, but I'd like you to stay because I like the way that you are thinking about things, and generally likes to sit at the same side of the table as the guys that have to write out the checks for the bills.
It's one place you can serve in the government where you actually can do as good, if not better, service to your fellow man, say, compared to the legislature.
On
the commission.
Well, legislature is a circus.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. He asked me what I think. Oh, you didn't. I just blurted that out, didn't I? Yeah, that's the way that works over there. If the real nuts and bolts of the government, and that. That's where it is. So, guys, we run into this situation all the time. You might vote out all 15 people at the legislature. We might start from scratch next year. There's literally that possibility that we will have a whole different 15 people at the legislature, right? I'm getting thumbs up on the Facebook page. People are like, oh yeah, that's a good idea. I told you my plan, right? We just every 2 years, 15 brand new people. If you're in there for a year, for a term, that's it. That's all you need to get. What? What happened? Oh, there's a phone call? What? I'm in the middle of a rant.
I know I'm always Shaka anyway, but yeah.
Oh, this is a good one. Okay, well, hold on. Let me pause the rant on getting a new 15 people every 2 years over at the legislature and get to this call here because it's so important. My cousin Marie Benito from the Department of Revenue and Taxation. Where's Denofade?
Well, half a day there, Primo.
I just wanted to. Oh, you sound tired. You already sound like you're over it.
No, I'm still going. Going and going.
You know, I originally thought, from the consumer, the taxpayer perspective, it would be good to have 2 days worth of tax filing deadline days. But by my guess is it's probably taking its toll on you and the staff because it's like everybody is like it's 2 whole days instead of just one, right?
Yes, you're right. And no, we were preparing for this.
Okay.
But, the crowd is not as much as, I think most of the filers are already filed. So we're looking at all the extensions, the payments.
Right. So people that were expecting a refund filed on February the 1st, right? First one in line, let me file. And anybody that has to pay, obviously, we wait until the last minute.
Yes, of course, yes.
Yeah, okay, I got it. So the question that I had, and for the most part, what I'm hearing is that there are people, there's a variety is talking about this today. Sorry, the Post talking about this. They've got some issues with late refund payments, number one. But they were also concerned. There's this lady, Ruth Parmar, who said that she had to go to 3 different places because she was paying. And then the story goes on to say if you are making payments, you can only do it at the Treasurer of Guam offices, at Rev and Tax, at the Department of Administration, first floor of the ITC building, or DPW's One Stop. And so the question that I have is how come is it that we're making it difficult to take money in? If I could figure out how to do it, I'd put a treasurer at the drive-thru at McDonald's.
Okay. Yes, I would too, but unfortunately, we can't do that. And no, Primo, we're not trying to make it difficult. Believe me, our job is to make it as smooth as possible. But from what I understand, DPW went down. Something about their lines went down. The computers. So that's what happened with that. But other than that, Rev and Tax was, is wide open, and so is Treasurer of Guam at FTC.
Right, but I think what got her was her original stop was going to be over at Agania Shopping Center, at one of the satellite places, and they said no, if you're paying, you have to go here. But she wasn't told about that. It's like the other night when I was at the Bank of Guam run, they said we can't give you beer until you get a script. And I'm like, hey, where's that? Oh, it's way over there. You got to go way over there. And then come back. You got to buy your script and then come back. And so for her, it was that additional step. And then she ended up over at DPW, and you're right, the rest of it. So this might be the only notice that you're going to get officially. If you are paying, then make sure that you're doing that, or you've already done it someplace where there's a Treasurer of Guam desk. Why isn't public health on this list? They've got a treasurer's window there.
I'm really not sure. I don't know the details about what happened. I apologize about that.
That's okay.
But,
can I ask you can I ask you another policy question?
Go ahead.
Okay, so this is interesting. There's a story about the Supreme Court, and Oyal is on the line, and maybe she can help answer this. There's a story about the Supreme Court, and they're going to be looking at internet sales taxes. And whether or not states should have the power to tax all online sales. Now, what holds us back on a lot of these cases is some of these retailers, especially the big box guys, are going to have a physical presence. Now, what the court may do is eliminate that and say that a virtual presence is the same as a physical presence. And if that happened, do you have any idea what kind of taxes we would be able to get from all of the online and phone call purchases that are made here? Has anybody done a guess on that?
That's a very good question that we've asked, repeatedly amongst ourselves. But really, we don't have that number because you can't capture what everybody's purchasing. But, I think that'll be a great thing for Guam. Let's just even out that playing field with the rest of the businesses. They're losing money locally to online sales. So if we can at least capture that sales tax, that'd be great for Guam.
Well, if it's going to be burdensome on the consumers, if it's going to make it that much more expensive, even if just the online sales tax, especially for goods that you cannot get here, then maybe we'd have to balance that. I mean, we're only talking about a couple of $1 million in an increased revenue from these sales. It might not be worth burdening the consumers, but I'd like to get the data. So maybe as we move through that conversation, because it's going to come up again, Prima.
Yes, it will. And you know what? You're right. We have to look at the whole picture, because will that company even consider selling to us if it's going to be a burden for them to collect the tax? So
ding, 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 ding.
Those are all questions that we have thought of. So we're not completely at that stage, but we do want to make it even for everybody.
Okay.
The businesses here are losing money.
Well, there's a lot of reasons for that as well. So I just wanted to touch base with you and see what we could learn on that. I'll talk to you soon. Okay.
All right.
Good luck and great work. Nobody's calling to complain about Rev and Tax, so I think you're all right. All right, Prima. It is where we are on the time. 9:43 in the morning. Did I make a mistake earlier? Oyal is on the line. Good morning, Oyal.
Good morning, Ray. Mr. Sal, how are you?
I'm trying to remember how to use my Palawan tongue when I say your name. Nirairakal.
Nirairakal. Very good.
Okay, I'm getting better. I'm getting better. It's the Palawan tongue, and I was looking at somebody's posts on Facebook today, and they were using. I was reading the post, and it looked like I should be reading it with the Palawan tongue, but as it turns out, I should have been reading it with my Pohnpeian tongue.
Yeah. I think of all of the Micronesian languages, maybe Yapese might be closest to Palau.
Yapese?
It is geography.
Well, yeah. It's right around the corner. You got the Yap and Ulithi, and in another 20 minutes on the same airplane, you're in Bubble Dub.
Yeah.
Wow. Wait a second. Hold on. Let me just embrace that thought here. The weekend in Palau.
Right. Can you imagine going to, if you go diving, right, in the lagoon?
No, you know what I'm thinking of is, diving, that's nice. Lobster House. That's your aunt that runs the place, right?
Yes, my auntie, the Sali family.
That was the first time I ever had in my life barracuda.
Oh yeah.
Was at Lobster House down there, and it's funny because it's the last place that you would look for a restaurant because it's literally in somebody's house, and you get in there and you're eating in the living room, and there's 20 people behind you, and there's cold beer, and there's fish that you've never had a chance to eat before in your life. The food is so good there. Is the Ellie Lai still open on the way to PPR?
Oh my gosh, I don't know.
That's another nice restaurant if you ever have the chance.
I haven't been there. Have I?
Oh, it's a great place. Anyway, I'm sorry. So I was talking with Eric from GRMC, and you said you needed me to clarify a statement. Go ahead.
Oh no. It was regarding public health.
Mm-hmm.
Earlier this morning, you commented that there was the funding for the services that were provided by Catholic Social Services.
Correct.
That had dried up, and we found money somehow to get the mayors to pick it up. The money was always there. The issue there, and the reason why that program had to be turned over to the mayors was basically the contract had expired with Catholic Social Services, and they had decided not to renew it. And so we needed to find a way to make sure that those services were not impacted in any way.
Okay, so but why did they not renew? That's the question. I recall the interview I had with Archbishop Byrne and the lady that ran the program.
There were some times when the paperwork was late, and I remember one of these issues one of these instances very specifically because it was a constituent who called my office, me, and so I called out what is going on, and essentially, I sometimes when you're working with federal grants, because a lot of this is a portion of this at least is federally funded, you have to have very specific paperwork done a certain way or something or other, and it takes time for the vendor to do it, and then it takes time for public health to do it, and then it takes time for DOA to do it. So sometimes it was a delay, and then other times it did come down to cash, and so there was a delay in that. But overall,
and I guess the point is that there were payless paydays for their employees and for their staffs as well, but they continued to provide the service, and after a time it became untenable. And so what we are seeing.
One of the reasons why they were also concerned was we were looking at I think at the time the administration was still forecasting $48 million, but then the legislature came out with a $67 million forecast with as a part of this whole revenue shortfall, right? So at the time, they were looking at that and they were like, well, if we're already having trouble now, then that's what I recall Mrs. Calvo, being concerned about. So but really what it came down to was the funding was there. And the budget was always there, and all they did was they took that funding and they basically just transferred it over to the mayors because our priority was making sure that the services to our Manumco did not.
And I agree with that, and I'm not gonna criticize the maintenance of the program. I just from the way it looked and the way things have been explained was there were times where there was no money, could not support the payroll of the operation, and so these people would have to wait until whatever the paperwork rigmarole was taken care of before they got their money. So now we've transferred that to the mayors, and so how is it that the mayors are not going to have the exact same problems?
Well, I mean, of course, DOA will always work with them and public health as well to ensure that we have everything done in time, so that we have payroll for those folks who are providing that service there for them.
And the benefits. So we've transferred now. There's less of a chance of that happening because they're now part of the regular government of Guam family, and they will be their payroll burden will be based on the general fund, not the applicability or the availability of the federal funds.
No, I believe portion of that is still federally funded. I need to double check on that, but I think it's a half and half mix. So
right.
One of matching grant type stuff.
So in my mind, it had that feel of disingenuousness because we didn't have the money, or we didn't have the wherewithal, or we didn't have the paperwork channel to take care of them when they were working for a public service organization. But now that they're in the fold of the government of Guam, they're not going to have quite as many problems.
Yeah, I mean, well, you know, I think even
I mean, it might be just perspective, you know.
it was there were met payable more often than not. You know, there were instances, but those were instances that occurred, you know, throughout. It was like 10-15 years or something. They have been providing that service for many years. You know, and so more often than not, you know, the paperwork was done and all the payments were made in time. But there were those instances, where either it was a cash availability thing or it was just a matter of, you know, timing where public health needed, you know, that time to get all the paperwork done, where Catholic Social Services needed the time to get, you know, the paperwork to public health or to DOA. So, you know, it was partly paperwork, but partly cash. But for the most part, I think overall, the majority of the funding was there. The majority of the time the funding was there.
We'd seen it before with the daycares. I don't know if you recall. It wasn't that long ago that there were a number of daycares that had parents who had children that were paid for as part of a block grant. Same thing happened. Is they turn in the bills to public health. Public health turns in the bills to the Department of Administration. The money is supposed to have always been there from the Fed, but we've got this process that you apparently have to chew through for a long time. And I think that was cause for a number of daycares. Moms will know this, that just went out of business and mailed back the license to Marie Benito, said, I'm done.
Oh, I don't know if they mailed back the licenses, but I recall the block grant. That was, I was on that for a while when my daughters were younger and I was still going to UOG. And
did the lady at the daycare say, hey, you know what, I'd love to have your daughter here today, but the government hasn't paid her bill, so take her to grandma's house?
You know, I think public health, I'm trying to recall, I was a reporter at the time, and I remember public health, you know, I think they had the same issues. It was a lack of personnel who were able to process the paperwork. If I'm recalling that, it was about 10 years ago.
It was a while ago, and as I said, I think that's among the causes of why there's fewer daycares that are out there, and the ones that are out there are pretty expensive these days. Anyway, I got to run. My guy's telling me to go to a break. I gotta go. So you just think about that. You roll that around in your head, huh? At Lobster House, right there at the port. Okay.
Yes. That was good eat.
I'll see you pretty soon. 9:52. Ray Gibson Show continues after these. Hey, what happened?
Every time I travel, there's something from home that I can't leave without. I take my Docomo Pacific Data to Go to share my stories in Taiwan, check subway routes in Tokyo, be my food guide in Hong Kong, meet new friends in the Philippines, make updates in the States, find my way around Korea, and check out all the cool shows in Singapore. It's the data I have in all the places I love for only $10 a day. Data to Go from Docomo Pacific. Better together.
At Micronesia Renewable Energy, values matter. So all of their solar energy systems come with guarantees and the most value. No shortcuts, all quality. It's giving you that solar energy system at the best price. It's using highly efficient solar panels with typhoon-proven racking, built by highly skilled local technicians, so your system performs and saves you money. It's total peace of mind all the time. Not all solar companies are created equal. For experienced quality solar, it's MRE. Call 632-2613. MRE, the smarter choice.
For over 55 years, Community First has served our island as a full-service financial institution. And now, we're proud to introduce the new Community First Student-Run Credit Union, open in Mangilao on Route 10, Guam's first student-run financial institution, which means it's operated by college students like us, ready to serve all our members, existing and new. We're just down the road from UOG and GCC. Community First Guam Federal Credit Union, now open in Mangilao. This credit union is federally insured by NCUA.
Triple J says yes. Zero down? Yes. 1.9% financing? Yes. Easy trade-in? Yes. No payments for 90 days? Yes. We'll have you saying yes too to these amazing deals, like our big boy truck, the Ford F-150 at only $217 per paycheck, or the top safety pick Mazda CX-5 Sport at only $194 per paycheck, or turn heads in the Mazda 3 Sport or the sleek and sophisticated Kia Soul, both for only $129 per paycheck. Visit us online at triplejguam.com. Some conditions Restrictions apply. See dealer for details. Triple J, customers first.
Many things on our island need attention. The Gutierrez Bordalio team understands the importance of addressing problems and finding solutions to all quality of life issues. Gutierrez Bordalio is committed to properly funding and staffing our customs agency. This first line of defense against drugs, terrorism, invasive species, and other crimes must be allowed to retain their customs users' fees without interference. And the financial relationship between GIAA and customs needs to be examined and equitably maintained.
I'm Carl Gutierrez, and I approve this message.
Look at the time. I barely have time for another rant here. What's that? So I thanks everybody that hang around and watching me on the Facebook Live and on the point.gu. That means a lot. I'm here every day, and this is the job. I'm glad to be here every day, and I'm really, really glad that you are there all the time as well. I recognize that there's a lot of information and entertainment choices that you've got available to you, and I recognize that that sometimes it's just, dude, I gotta have something playing in the background. So thanks. I'm glad that you've selected me to play in your in the background of your morning routine. I want to finish with this. I think today I want to finish with this. And it's the idea of the internet sales tax. And I might make this the poll question today. In fact, let me just write that down because otherwise I'll forget. I come up with brilliant ideas while I'm in here and just think, wow, that's just a genius. And then as soon as I walk out the door, gone, just like that. So internet sales tax will be the question today. And the point of the question is going to be, would you support the collection of a tax based on your purchases on the internet? Now, in the article, at least a couple of the articles that I've read, they say that the states ought to be getting more of this. It's probably going to happen in the Supreme Court. And that will clear the way for us to levy some kind of tax on goods that are purchased online. And we'll define online in a bunch of different ways, whether it's a direct connection with an Amazon, whether it's a connection through eBay or something like that to another vendor, or whether it's an individual to a vendor connection that you're going to be making. So all of that stuff has to be defined. And then they'll figure out how to put it together. But do you support the idea that the government of Guam and the people of Guam, other taxpayers, might be missing out on revenue that they can use to improve our lot in life here? That's number one. Or do you not? Or do you not? In the mainland, we order at Pop's house. They order everything from underwear to bananas from Amazon.com. They're members of the Amazon Prime. And if Pop decides that he wants to get, and he does this all the time, so I need, you know what I want to be able to do? I want to hook up a Bluetooth speaker to the output of the stereo system so I can walk around and listen to Ray Gibson and outside the house. And it's very easy for him to make the order of what he wants on Amazon, and then 24 hours later, literally 24 hours later, a delivery man from the federal government will knock on a door and say, here's your boxes from Amazon, and it's there. You can get groceries and stuff like that. He's in an advanced enough market where he's got all of that kind of stuff available to him. And like I said, he's got the Amazon Prime. But that's the way they do it there, right? So why do we order things from off island? It's not necessarily cheaper for us because we still have to pay the shipping in order to get it out here. They usually tack on an additional several dollars. I've been in the situation where the shipping for something I bought is more than the price of the item that I bought. And that doesn't seem right, but there doesn't seem to be anything that you can do on top of that. And in 9 out of 10 cases, I will tell you that if I purchase something online, it's because I can't find it here. I'm an electronics junkie. And if I can't find something in the computer stores that I haunt or the stereo stores, how fewer and fewer are those anymore, right? If I can't find something there, then it's not a question of me wanting to buy it from off island and get charged less. It's a question of I can't find it here. And that's a real big problem. So we are going to be, again, penalized by the whims of whatever it is that they're going to charge for shipping and then we're going to pay a tax on it on top of the fact that we can't get something locally. And so I want to have a conversation mostly about how much money they intend to make off of this. And frankly, if it isn't huge, if it's not big enough to get us out of the deficit hole they claimed fabricated us to be in, then you know what? No is going to be my answer, and I hope it'll be your answer too. You know, if you want to debate about it, I'll be here tomorrow morning at 6. 10 o'clock in the morning right now on The Point. KUSG Agana, Fox News Live in 4 seconds.
A member of the president's cabinet accused of improper spending. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. The EPA administrator now under scrutiny by a government watchdog group.
A $43,000 privacy booth for EPA Administrator Scott Pruitt violated federal spending laws. The Government Accountability Office has concluded. At issue is a federal statute prohibiting agencies